station. And we've also had a special treat, our NHRA Information Dragway. An innovative and entertaining behind-the-scenes look at NHRA Powerade drag racing. And we start the lessons all over again. ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports, presents exclusive coverage of the $50 million NHRA Powerade Drag Racing Series. Today, from Bandamere Speedway, just west of Denver, Colorado, final eliminations of the 24th running of the Mopar Mile High Nationals. And oh, what beautiful pistas carved out of the foothills of the Rocky Mountains, Bandamere Speedway, as we are ready with some looming clouds off into the distance to continue our NHRA Information Dragway presented by Lucas Oil Products. Let's start things off by showing you what happened earlier today. If you weren't with us in first round of Top Fuel, Tony Schumacher in the right lane. Rhonda Hartman goes up in smoke. Tony goes to a 5.15 second pass at 239 miles an hour to advance. Then it was Melanie Troxel. Best run of the weekend so far for this team. I mean, they did well in qualifying, but this was stout. 492 at 293. But it would get better as she beat Mike Strasberg. Corey McLenathan then runs 5:07 to beat Don Sasenka, as he just did not have enough race car to keep up. Then it was Kenny Bernstein, has had a lot of success here at Denver. He takes care of John Smith. He goes 4.90 seconds at 298 miles an hour. Then Darrell Russell breaks into the 80s. He's up against Paul Romine. Russell goes 4.84 at 305 miles an hour. Paul Romine never a factor. David Baca also tips into the 80s. He goes 4.88 seconds at 298. Takes care of Doug Herbert. And then it's Doug Kalitta. Kalitta goes even lower. 4.81 seconds, 306 miles an hour. And then the quickest run of the weekend turned in by the points leader, Larry Dixon. 4.72 seconds, 311 miles an hour. Mitch King was left in the dust. Ladder shows it'll be Dixon and Baca with the lane choice on the left side in round 2, and Melanie Troxel and Doug Kalitta over on the right side. Now, as far as Funny Car is concerned, first round action, Frank Pedregon punches out Ron Capps. Frank goes 5:28 at 278 to the 5:35 for the Skoll Green team. Then it was Tim Wilkerson and Gary Selsey. The number 1 qualifier goes 5:10 at 287. Selsey was right there at a 5:13, but just not quite enough. And then the biggest upset of the round. Scotty Cannon punches out number 2 qualifier Tony Pedregon. A 5:20 to a 6:10. And that opens the door for Whit Bazemore to mop off another 20 points in the championship chase. And he does it. He eliminates Terry Haddock with a 5:11 at 290 miles an hour. Then it was Dean Scoots up against last year's winner, Del Worsham. Worsham goes up in smoke, and the winner just a couple of weeks ago at St. Louis is on the trailer, courtesy of Scoots. It's 5:27 at 288. Then Tommy Johnson Jr., Dale Creasy. TJ wins the round, but keep an eye on Creasy because he has another explosion 2 days in a row. We'll get another look at this one.
Well, you're seeing these cars put out a lot of drop cylinders on the other side. On each side, after he backpedals, that causes the fire to fire up through the intake valve and light that fuel in the manifold.
And it was John Force and Johnny Gray. John Force runs a 5:10 at 3:01. It was good enough for lane choice, and he's up against Whit Bazemore in second round action. And then Cruz Pedregon finishes off the round. He too is going to have a problem right at the finish line, but he wins with a 5:10 at 3:03, popping the burst panel and pitching the supercharger. Wilkerson, Scusa had the lane choice in round 2 on the left side. Then over on the right, it is Scotty Cannon and John Force with the lane choice. If you weren't with us earlier today, we're glad you're with us now. Marty Reed along with Mike Dunn. You've won up here in Funny Car, Top Fuel. We saw some surprises always here at Denver because of the altitude and the heat.
Well, that's right, Marty. Because of the altitude and the heat, like you said, I was able to win in Top Fuel and Funny Car, but boy, I also had weekends that I came up here and I just couldn't hit it. We were just off all weekend, and it's very unforgiving up here. I mean, if you're not on your game, you're going to really be going home early, and we've seen that in the first round with a number of upsets, especially that one with Tony Pedregon.
And it's also tough for the Pro Stock bikes and Pro Stock car. And if you were with us earlier, we did get 2 of the Pro Stock cars in our first round in our live live coverage earlier today over on ESPN, and this was one of them. Warren Johnson and George Marnell. WJ struggling through qualifying, but he found something. 7:24 at 190 miles an hour to take the win light. And then it came up with the defending Powerade champion, Jake Coughlin. Jake Coughlin on the left side of your screen, driver's right, runs a 7:25 at 190 miles an hour to put Greg Stanfield on the trailer in the Dodge Neon at a 7:28. So here's the updated ladder as we head into round 2. You can see WJ already advancing. Arrow indicates who still has the lane choice, and there's Jake Coughlin advancing as well. And when we come back, it'll be the rest of Pro Stock and Pro Stock Bike here at Vandermeer Speedway at the 24th running of the Mopar Mile High Nationals, round 13 of the Powerade Drag Racing Series. Denver, the Mile High City, and with that high altitude comes some serious tricky track conditions. In Pro Stock, which of these seasoned vets can master the tough atmospheric conditions? And take a look at the ladder. You can see that Warren Johnson has already advanced, beating George Marnell, and Jake Coughlin over Greg Stanfield. And that brings us to Jake's brother Troy, as he is making the field for the first time in a long time. He'll be up against Bruce Allen. For Bruce Allen, his 550th
Troy, you
round
got
of
him on a whole
competition.
shot. You're 7:29 to his 7:27. 189.90.
And as you heard Jake Sr. talk about, it is going to be a defeat for Bruce in his 550th round because he was hole-shotted by Troy Coughlin. He had 4 100s in the bank leaving the starting line and one right there.
Well, that's right, Marty. Troy did his job, got the advantage off the starting line. 0.47 to an 0.87. Margin of victory at the other end, 200ths of a second. That was the difference in elapsed time.
And let's talk about what a hole shot is.
Well, a hole shot is a starting line advantage gained by the quicker reacting racer, because remember, the clock doesn't start when the green light comes on. The clock starts when the driver leaves the starting line and breaks that starting line beam.
And a hole shot win means you run a slower elapsed time, but because you were first off the line, you've got the win light. And let's go talk to the guy with the win light. He's with Bill.
Troy, you just beat one of the all-time great leavers in the sport on a hole shot. Now, when you go up to race a guy like Bruce Allen in the car, are you intentionally trying to hit the tree a little harder?
Well, I think you're trying to hit the tree hard all the time, but you know, anytime you can beat class people like that, I'll tell you, Team Jake's going to be more excited to get into the second round, that's for sure, but got to be on your game.
First time he's had a round win since March.
It has been a long drought for Troy, as that was the first hole shot loss of the year for Bruce Allen. That gives you an idea just how good he is on the tree. Here's another guy that's good, Mike Edwards. He won this event last year. His last win, though, as he's been struggling a little bit since. He'll be up against V. Gaines, closest to you in the right lane.
And Mike Edwards chose the left lane. He had lane choice. He's the first one to do it in Pro Stock. In fact, we haven't seen anybody choose the left lane since Top Fuel. So it'll be a little interesting to see what happens here.
Edwards, 7:29, another hole shot. 189 miles an hour. V. Gaines ran a 7:28, but 2 100ths difference off the starting line, and look at the stripe.
Boy, what a close finish that is. Tough break for V. Gaines. He was running pretty good, lives here locally, and wanted to do a good job in front of his hometown fans.
Let's take a look at the Pro Stock specs.
Well, let's talk about the car's weight with the driver. It's a minimum of 2,350 pounds. The wheelbase is 106 inches. Rear tire's a little bit smaller than on the fuel counterpart, 17 inches wide with only 104 inches roll out versus about 116 to 118. But they need them to get that traction to get down this racetrack.
And now we get ready for Alan Johnson, closest to you right there. He'll be alongside of Jim Yates. It's Mopar against Grand Am. You know, Jim Yates was talking about how his downfall last year in the championship chase really began here at Denver, and he said if we're going to turn it around this year here, and so far he has. He qualified number 4 and has been running consistently strong. With the advantage off the line. And the 2-time Denver winner takes the round win with a 7:25 at 190 miles an hour over Alan Johnson's 7:30. As not a good day for AJ and the Mopar camp here at the Mopar Mile High Nationals, but still more to come here at the Mopar Mile High Nationals. It's time for Kurt Johnson and Taylor Laster. KJ second in the points chase, and all week long these two guys, between he and Greg Anderson, they have been in lockstep. Anderson has just been a couple of ticks ahead of Kurt every session. Yeah, Kurt Johnson's been running very, very well this weekend. We saw how excited he got when he saw his dad, WJ, make his best run of the weekend in that first round win. Very excited because he probably has a pretty similar setup here for this particular race against Taylor Laster. Well, KJ's been good on the mountain. He won here at Denver in 95 and 2000. Taylor Laster, it's his first time in Pro Stock here at Bandamere. Uh-oh. There we go. Finally going to get in. Advantage Kurt Johnson. Win light. Kurt Johnson. Ooh, 7:23, making another statement. Now, will Greg Anderson be able to answer? That is low so far for this first round in Pro Stock. Let's go to the far end to Bill.
Just chatting with Jim Yates, who had a nice run, 7:25. We're talking about last year how the altitude tracks just flummoxed you, but looks like you got it this time around. Yeah, the altitude tracks are really kicking our butt last year, but Bob's done a lot of work on the motor. Jamie's come up with a pretty good combination to run up here, and running pretty fast. That 7:25 out there. Track was real slick. We overestimated it, believe it or not, again, first round, and luckily enough we got to win, you know, and beating a Mopar up here at the Mopar Nationals. Give us one little click from Pontiac. Or the Q's last year, all at altitude tracks. Parker?
Melanie Troxel's crew continuing to finish the turnaround on her top fuel engine. Melanie, when I got here, you're rebuilding a pair of rear brake calipers. What went wrong?
Well, the car started, it stopped at the end of the tracks just fine, but I got after it a little bit there. We think we got the brakes a little hot, and then towing back in a hurry, we got the brakes even hotter. We think we just kind of boiled the brake fluid enough that it got the O-rings inside the piston seals so hot that it just kind of melted them. So by the time we got back here, there were no brakes. We had brake fluid coming out of both sets of calipers. We thought it was just one at first, so it kind of sent us scrambling. We only had one spare, sent us scrambling to find replacement parts, some stuff we could borrow from other teams, but we think we found everything we need.
And Marty, you normally don't see hands with this sort of engagement ring rebuilding brake calipers.
Are you talking about yours or hers? Greg Anderson, Terry Adams. Of course, Melanie is engaged to Tommy Johnson Jr. And right now, Greg Anderson, he has seen what Kurt Johnson laid down. 7:23. Barry Grant, or Terry Adams from Barry Grant's team over in that left lane, going to try and knock out the #1 qualifier. Red light, Terry. .722, and he does it again. KJ throws down a number, and then Greg Anderson does him one tick better. And let's hear from KJ.
Well, sort of a disturbing pattern this year. You run low ET for the round, and, well, Greg Anderson trumps you, but you're still happy with that run you made.
Oh, Greg's been making excellent runs. You know, he's got about 100th on us. The AC Delco crew is just going to have to go to work, and, you know, that's all that makes these cars go fast is a lot of hard work. But this Chevrolet's flying.
He's got 2 wins up here in the rare air.
Down in Frankie Pendragon's pit, you might recall, he had a bit of a fire after his first round pass. Found out the reason, talked to Big Jim Dunn. They talked about that thing we've been talking about all weekend long, and it's dropped cylinders. And what happens is when a car drops a couple of cylinders, it makes the other 6 cylinders work so hard. And what happens then is they get lean, they get very, very hot. So hot, in fact, upwards of 2,000 degrees. And when that happens, these copper gaskets that won't melt until about 1,500 degrees, well, they give way. And when that happens, everything escapes out the side. You've got yourself a fire. But other than that, no major damage down here. Frankie Pendragon will be ready for second round.
And as you finish up, Dave, Ron Krischer in the right lane, Darrell Alderman in the left, and The win light to Krischer, 7:27 at 189 miles an hour to Darrell Alderman's 7:31. So not a good round for the Mopars here in round one of Pro Stock, as there is the margin at the stripe, about the half a fender length, as Ron Krischer takes the win light. Greg Anderson and Jim Yates, Kurt Johnson and Ron Krischer have the lane choice in round number 2. When we come back, it'll be round number 1 of Pro Stock Bike. And yeah, we'll tell you more about that new U.S. Army team. Back here at the Mopar Mile High Nationals, glad you're with us as we're ready for first round action in Pro Stock Bike. And take a look at the ladder, and for the first time in history, a Harley-Davidson is sitting on point with GT Tonglin. Right behind him, Andrew Hines, his Screaming Eagles teammate. V-Rod's been doing very well. Reggie Showers, Karen Stouffer first up. Karen in the right lane made her Pro Stock Bike debut right here. And the win light goes to Karen. 760 at 175 as we put a period on Pro Stock Car with Greg Anderson. There he is. He's with Bill.
Craig, last year you were in the heat of a points race and it sort of fell apart toward the end of the season, and now you and Kurt have kind of cut yourselves out of the herd. Same situation. But with runs like that, you got to feel better about your chances this time around.
I feel great. It is 10 times better than last year. Last year, I just could not run no matter what happened. This year, we come tested. We learned a lot. Come back for the race. We've been strong every run. The car's just flying. But, you know, you run low ET every round, and what do you get for reward? Second round, you get WJ. And he just runs 7:24. You know, he's right there. It all comes down to the starting line again. I got no cushion.
And believe me, in this class, to see two guys running away with the points is almost unheard of.
You're absolutely right there. As none of us expected that at the beginning of the season, Bill. And you're looking at Angel Savoy closest to you with those new U.S. Army colors. Michael Phillips over in the left lane. Perfect light by Angel. Whoa! And she gets beat. Michael Phillips runs a 7:62 at 176. He cut a 006 light. Angel, absolutely perfect, 7:64. And the woman in second place in the points, the three-time champion, is out of here in round one.
Well, let's look at reaction time. It is the time it takes a driver to react to the changing lights on the Christmas tree. The reaction time counter begins when the last amber light flashes, and it stops when the vehicle clears the stage beam.
Let's take a look at Pro Stock Bike specs.
Well, Pro Stock Bike specs. Weight with the rider, 600 pounds. The engine, if you run 2 valves, you're limited to 1,508 cc's. 4 valves, only 1,429 cc's. The national record for speed is 194.10 miles per hour. That was set by Matt Hines in Englishtown in 2001.
The fourth time Angel Savoy has lost in first round. That is what has been killing her in the points. Red light, Sean Connor in the left lane. Mike Berry is going to get a free pass. Oh, and Connor throws away a 760, and Berry runs 762. Both of them at 175 miles an hour. And as part of our information dragway, these are the reasons you can get disqualified.
Well, if you red light, that's an automatic disqualification, crossing the center line or hitting the wall. Now, if there's 2 infractions, then the rule usually reverts to whoever did it first or the worst. So in other words, if one guy red lights, the other guy goes out there and hits the wall, hitting the wall or crossing the center line is worse. So the person that red light would be advanced into the next round.
I guess the question I have to ask is, what's worse, crossing the line or hitting the wall?
Well, you know, I don't really know the answer to that, but I would assume crossing the center line, because then you're getting into your competitor's lane.
Either one.
You could, yeah, I mean, either one's bad, but I think probably crossing the center line, because then you could actually, run into your competition. In my opinion, that would be worse, but that's still a call by the NHRA Tech Committee.
I'll tell you what, let's not see either one today. I don't want to see anybody peeling off the wall or crossing the center line. GT Tonglin now in the right lane. #1 qualifier on the Harley Hog, the V-Rod. Blaine Hale, and boy, I'll tell you what, every time these guys turn in a great performance, the fans are just on their feet clapping. These guys, of course, from this area. Oh, and GT goes red. going to be kicking himself. He throws away a 755. Look at the team. They can't believe it. Hale only managed a 769. I mean, unbelievable.
Boy, I mean, he only missed it by 0.02 of a second. But I'll tell you what, I mean, he had Blaine Hale covered pretty good in elapsed time. I don't think there's no reason as a rider. I mean, the Pro Stock bikes, I mean, you react as soon as you see the amber, but they're very quick reacting. They almost have to kind of wait a little bit, especially in a situation like that. If I'm a rider running as good as as GT was running, I go up there and just let the guy get 300 or 400s on you and let that big horsepower from that Harley just drive around for the win. Tough break for GT.
His 4th red light loss of the year. Let's go the far end, Bill.
It has already been an astonishing round of Pro Stock Bike. I'm with Angel Savoy. The weekend began with such high hopes, Angel, and you know what happened, but you still can't explain it.
I really don't know what happened. They told me I had a perfect reaction time, which I've been trying to fix all weekend. I think I was doing a good job at that. My U.S. Army Suzuki felt like it ran fantastic. Mark has always done a good job. I know he did a good job. The shifts felt fine. The bike felt fine. I went perfectly straight. I can't believe that I didn't win. I'm so sorry for the Army and all those troops out there. I promise that this year we're going to do a better job for them. It's just a tough start. This is a tough race, tough track.
Sometimes there are mysteries on the mountain.
Yeah, but you can't blame herself. I mean, you can't do any better than cutting a 000 lights. And you saw that run where Andrew Hines ran 7:56 and takes the win over Steve Johnson. And that brings us to Craig Treble and that man right there, Fred Collis. He's riding Angel's championship-winning bike from last year. They purchased it. And it is the 45th perfect light ever cut in NHRA Powerade competition. Craig Treble trying to rebound from a terrible first half.
And Craig has really been struggling, and that's a big surprise after the year he had last year. Just doesn't seem like he's making the horsepower that he used to.
And we got a clarification from Graham Light that just in case it would ever happen, if both drivers cross the center line and or hit the wall, they'd both be disqualified.
So what happens in the final round? Nobody wins?
Nobody. Well, no, I guess so. Now we've got a great question for Graham.
I got an email question for Graham right now.
If it happens in the final, Graham, we're coming your way, buddy. Freddie Collis escapes because he was sleeping off the line with a 118 light, but a 761 gives him the win. Of course, Graham Light, we should point out, is the Vice President of Operations for NHRA. Let's go to the far end, Bill.
Low qualifier GT Tonglid like Angel Savoy cannot really explain what happened, but to foul out was just unbelievable to us.
Yeah, it's a tough break for the Screaming Eagle Van Tenines team, and I feel like I let everyone down, but we still got one more Harley Davidson in there, and my teammate Andrew Hines try to get him to the finals.
You staged the bike like you normally do and read the tree like you normally do.
Yeah, I mean, we do the same thing each time just to stay consistent, but sometimes they get you.
You got bit.
Last year, Gino Scali earned his first national event win. This year, he already has 2 wins and is leading the points. Now, his eyes are set on 2003 being the year of his first Powerade championship. And there is Gino Scali, the current points leader. And it looks like we may be on a bit of a delay because Gino wouldn't be giving us that gesture if he was ready to go racing. And we've got a problem with the tree. Now we've got an email question from Greg Zank from, I think that's Menasha, Wisconsin. After watching all the between rounds work by the fuel teams, wouldn't it be easier to swap engines instead of rebuilding them, Michael?
Well, Greg, that's actually a great question, and you're right. It would be easier. They can actually just change short blocks out a lot quicker, or complete engines if they were set up. The problem is it's very hard to get camshafts that are ground exactly perfect. Your compression height's exactly the same. So a lot of teams like to service that motor that's in the car rather than change it to make sure everything stays the same.
Parker, you've got more?
Well, Marty, we thought we'd do a follow-up with Johnny West, who's a crew chief on David Baca's Top Fuel team. And Johnny, Mike just told us some of the reasons, but why don't the fuel teams just replace the entire engine as opposed to servicing those individual components?
Well, sometimes a brand new block has got, it's a lot more square, and it has it's just a better engine. So in between eliminations, if you can avoid it, you like to stay with the same engine. That way you know what the characteristics are going to be like from one to run.
And it's also important to look at the wear of those components, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. You got to find out what's going on in the engine so you know what's getting hurt. And sometimes if something's getting hurt, that's killing the performance. So if you can fix it or, touch it here and there, then everything turns out better.
Thanks very much, Dunny. Thanks, Greg, for that email question.
And thank you, Parker. We've got to take a commercial break. By the way, Graham says first is worse. They determine who made the foul first, either hitting the wall or crossing the center line in that final. Stay with us. Now, we are still under a bit of a delay. They're working on the Christmas tree. You can see Antron Brown in his new U.S. Army colors. And there is Gino Scali. But let's talk about the Christmas tree.
Well, the Christmas tree is an electronic starting device incorporating calibrated lights displaying a visual countdown for each driver. It is activated by a designated NHRA official. In this case, Rick Stewart does all the pro classes.
And as we go back a little bit earlier today in round one action, Cruz Pedregon blew the burst panel.
Burst panel is right up there. You're going to see it right at the lights. There it went.
And that, of course, required the use of the blower blankets.
And the blower blanket is usually made of Kevlar. A blower blanket surrounds a supercharger to contain supercharger parts in the event of an explosion like we saw with Cruz.
Let's go to Dave Reeve.
And that blower blanket came into very good use because of a supercharger exploding. And just to give you an idea of how good these Kevlar units are, take a look. Here are 4 pieces. The blower that used to be inside of Cruz Pedregon's supercharger here, pieces that were actually still contained by this Kevlar blanket. There's another such Kevlar blanket. It's called the diaper. It goes around the oil pan, contains parts that come out of the engine on the bottom. But they popped that supercharger so hard that they're going to go ahead and shuck this red Advanced Auto Parts body in favor of their old Fast and Furious one that's coming up in the second round.
And just as you finish, boy, Antron Brown can help Angel if he can punch out the points leader. Not going to happen. Gino Scali, 7:57. That's the quickest he's run all weekend. 176 miles an hour. Antron cut a better light. But as you can see, Angel knows Scali just picked up another 20 points in the championship chase.
Well, I tell you, Gino Scali, crew chief Earl DeGlopper's just been doing a great job on this bike. That thing's been running very good all weekend. And this is no different. You see him off the left. He got a little bit out of the groove. Now, here we'll watch Antron Brown. As the bike launches, remember, they're trying to keep this bike straight. You see the thing start to want to go over towards the wall a little bit. And one of the key things is they don't really steer these bikes. They actually lean them to get them to go where they want. So, and it's very critical because one of the parts that they do is they don't want to lean it too much to lose that contact area on the tire there. See how it's nice and flat. If the thing starts to drift, you lean too far, you lose a little bit of contact area, then that tire actually spins a little bit too much and you lose elapsed time.
As we get ready for Sean Gann and Fred Camarena, Scali now lengthens his lead over Angel to 89 points, and he's still in the race with 3 rounds to go. That's 60 more additional points out there. Gann in the right lane, Camarena in the left lane, running sponsorship from Angel's Motorsports, Angel's motorcycle shop down in Louisiana. And it is Sean Gann running a 7:58 to Camarena's 7:64. And Sean moves in to second round, and the points leader is with Bill.
And Gino knows what happened to Angel Savoy, so that was a big round for you.
Yeah, you know what? I love my country. I love America. I hate to see the U.S. Army bikes go out, but I got to thank, my sponsors, Trimtex, and Hot Cams and Craftsman Tools for having this bike be so fast.
Devastating weekend for Antron Brown and Angel Savoy, no doubt about it, with a new sponsor, both out in the first round.
Yeah, and Gino Scali has lane choice over Sean Gann. You can tell him that. He'll be interested in that, Bill. Now, we have an email question. Can you go over the point system used in the pro classes? Thank you, Jeff.
Well, the point system here is basically you get 10 points just for coming here and making a run. You get 20 points for each round elimination, and then you also get qualifying points. If you're number 1 qualifier, 8 points. Number 2, 7. 3, 6 points. 4 gets 5 points, and then number 5 and 6 gets down to 4 points. Here's eliminations points. The winner would get 100 points. That would be, even though there's 4 rounds, there's 5. It'd be the 5. You got 20 for first, second, third, fourth, and then the win. That's 100 points overall, 80 for a runner-up, 60 for semifinals. You also get 20 points for setting a national ET record. There are no points for the speed record. And then there's a 10-point deduction for an oil down in eliminations after your 4th infraction.
And let's take a look now at the motorcycle ladder as the bikes will have Karen Stouffer and Gino Scali with the lane choice in round 2 on the left side. Andrew Hines and Fred Collis over on the right. We've got to take a commercial break, and I think it's going to be a needed glass of lemonade. Temperature into the 90s, track temperature in the 130s. Oh, man, it's hot. Oh, it has been so hot here in Denver. We're a mile high in the sky. Nobody can breathe between the heat and the altitude, but somehow we're getting racetracks and race cars hooked up and down the track. And let's talk about our NHRA Information Dragway presented by Lucas Oil Products. As all weekend long, we've been trying to give you a little more insight into NHRA Powerade drag racing. And we always talk about the cars staging.
Well, stage is when the driver is staged, when the front wheels of the vehicle are on the starting line and the second set of lights on the top of the Christmas tree in his or her side is illuminated. The countdown of amber lights leading to the green may start at any time once both competitors are staged.
Now, when a driver stages the car, he goes into full concentration mode. We've seen that happen a lot. Ron Capps explains how some guys try to play mental games during the staging process.
This is the deal right here, because a lot of the fans don't understand, and you'll see a guy take forever to stage. There's not much to do in there. So it's not like a guy says, well, I had all this stuff to do. Let me tell you, you pull a pump all the way on, you let your foot off the clutch, and you're ready to go in. So anything beyond that you can count, 4 or 5 seconds, the guy is playing a game with you. May not be a big game, but he's playing a game with you. So, you know, once you've done all that and you got the pump on and you let your foot off the clutch, now the motor's loaded and you're so zeroed in on the stage and the watching how far you need to roll, at the same time rolling in with your brake, that the concentration's unbelievable, because you know, there's so many things going on around you. You're listening to the motor idle, you know, you can feel the car idling, you know that guy's over there. Sometimes in peripheral vision you can see the front of his car going up the stage, and you're watching as you creep in to try and stage this thing, and the concentration you have, it's like in a movie when they shut out everything else around it, like the noise goes away. It's that kind of deal, and you could cut the air with a knife. And then you're also watching the other guy's light to see what he's doing, because at the same time you don't want to roll in and stage and be stuck there with your foot off the clutch and the car loaded. When this guy's playing a game with you, all it's doing is burning up your clutch. And once you're both staged and you're waiting for that amber, I mean, that's an anticipation that either you go in first or he goes in first, but once both stage lights are lit, you're grabbing a hold of that brake, and your foot is so poised, your right foot, that as soon as you see any kind of amber, it's down and let go of the brake at the same time. I mean, you mash the throttle. It's not just a go. I mean, and away you go.
Did you ever have any games or tricks that you like to play out in the starting line?
No, I didn't like to play games on the starting line. When I was a kid, I used to like to play strip poker, but I don't think that counts.
Can't do that in all those seat belts and fire suits, I don't think.
No, it wouldn't be a good thing. Wouldn't be very pretty either.
That's for sure. I'm glad you said it, not me. Let's go to Dave Reeves.
Marty, the work continues down here in Cruz Pedregon's Advanced Auto Parts, where the Fast and Furious body's about to come out, and there's still plenty of work to be done there. Some of the spill plate and wicker bill stuff being done right now. But these guys aren't the only ones sweating. Take a look underneath of this car. This is the Broadcast Sports Technology crew that provide us our microwave wireless services, outfitting Cruz Pedregon's car for the onboard camera. You're looking at Bob France putting on some of the stuff. Tom Smith underneath of that car putting on some more of the equipment that helps us go on a ride with Cruz Pedregon. He took us on a 300-mile-per-hour one yesterday. And just to kind of give you an idea how serious this work is going down here, take a look at this man's forehead when we get back out here. Tom Smith working so hard. Look at that forehead. Blood, sweat, and tears out here, guys.
Looks like he took a left cross from Lennox Lewis. Now we got another email question from Steve in St. Louis. He watched Ron Capps yesterday, jetted off to a race. It all appears to be glamorous lifestyle. What do drivers do during weeks between races? Here, tell us about that glamorous lifestyle, buddy.
Oh, yeah, it's pretty glamorous, but there's a lot of work you have to do. A lot of work.
I think that jet belongs to Don Perdome, and Ron only gets to ride on it occasionally. Let's go to Parker.
Glamorous? Well, Steve, I've got Whit Bazemore. Whit, Steve of St. Louis wants to know, what do racers do in between race weekend?
Well, it depends which race it is, of course, on the schedule. But if there's enough time, we like to go to the beach somewhere, take a nice long vacation, and kick back, relax. do a little bit of bike riding, but mostly just lay around and play the life of a race car driver, you know, Parker. I mean, you know what we do during the week.
I see you smiling. You're in the best condition of anybody in this sport. You cycle hundreds of miles a week. How come you guys are out of breath at the end of a 5-second run?
Well, the cars just slam the hell out of you. You know, when you step on the throttle, the acceleration is so great. And, you know, not everyone is out of breath all the time, but, you know, it's quite a job. It's an experience, and you really can't explain it unless you do it. But you're busy in there, you're working hard, and a lot of forces on your body. But I think my cycling helps me, and I try not to be out of breath, but you can judge for yourself next time.
And Steve, we'll try to get a serious answer from you sometime in the future. Marty?
Thanks, Parker. Yeah, we did a good job of keeping a straight face. A lot of personal appearances between events, I'll tell you that. Stay with us. We're coming back. Got another email, this one from Brandon Fisher in Thornton, Colorado. What do the drivers do between rounds while the crews are working on the cars? Dave Rafe, you got an answer for us.
Well, I'm down with Tim Wilkerson, a guy who, well, quite frankly, is not like a lot of other drivers. You work your tail off between rounds.
Well, between rounds for me is a little different story. I do a little tune work here on this car, but you know, I got somebody else packing my parachute and doing the fuel. That's what most drivers do. Luckily for me, I got a good group of people behind me and the LRS folks with the money, but hey, I do a little tune work. Fred Mandolini and I, we beat our heads together back there trying to make sure this thing's going to run right, and we had low ET around number 1 there, but we're going to try and keep going down the track.
Let me check out these hands. You get greasy at all?
There's dirt all over them hands. Of course there is. I'm thinking about going and just arm wrestling with Bazemore. You know, it's going to be him and I in the finals.
Ooh, an early call.
Ooh. I wonder if John Force is going to agree with that one. We'll find out here shortly. Hey, you know, we gave Ron Capps a camera to take some home video this weekend, or last weekend, time out in St. Louis. We weren't really sure what we would get. Well, now you can see that what we got was some inside information on one of his teammates.
Okay, this is for ESPN. I just want to show him. We're going to tell you good luck.
Oh, right on.
This is what Larry does with
do you know,
the champion. Okay.
This is the only time Ron has ever come by to wish me luck.
It is not.
Right now.
That is not true. I'm always up there. Before they fire the car up, I'm always up there.
Oh.
Aren't I?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, you guys are on TV, and you're like, okay, Ron.
I'm always standing in front of the van. You never see me?
Yeah.
See?
Yeah, at the track, but he never comes by before.
You want to know why? And I wasn't going to get into this. Okay, here's the deal. It's what I wasn't going to talk about. We're going to let it out in the open now. You want to know what it?
Okay.
We're going to talk about it. LaHaye he's got a thing with green. It's out now. He's got a thing with green. He doesn't like, am I right?
Yeah, you're right.
Tell me about it. Right?
Yeah.
That's why Skip's not wearing green, all his shirts, and Snake at the track is always wearing blue with a red skull. It's out in the open now. And I'm always afraid of making LaHaye nervous.
That's why we changed the Ray Bestis logos on the car.
Is it?
Because it had the green flag on it.
I didn't know that. See, guys like that, you don't mess with. You just don't mess with his success. I mean, if he's got a problem with something, you just...
It's like Superman and Kryptonite.
See?
Just don't mix.
See, there he is. Told you. Now it's out in the open. You know the whole story. I don't know if we should air this. That's like inside info.
Doing like a little documentary?
Yeah, it's going to be on ESPN. You're going to be on ESPN. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much.
See? These are the fans that we're talking about all the time.
I think we can trouble you for
95 degrees. They wait for me out here for 10 minutes.
Ron, I don't know what you've done, but I have a feeling that he's going to get a lot of green presents from all the other competitors in Top Fuel. Stay with us. We're coming right back. Here's the ladder in Top Fuel for round 2. Arrow indicates that Larry Dixon, David Baca have the lane choice on the left side, and it's Melanie Troxel and Doug Coletta over on the right. Let's talk a little bit of Top Fuel specifications.
Well, let's talk about the driveline. It's a supercharged 500 cubic inch engine. And with that, they're producing almost 8,000 horsepower that propel these rockets to a national record speed of 332 miles per hour, set by Larry Dixon this year in Las Vegas, Nevada.
And as we go down trackside, there is Corey McClenathan. He's going to be over in the left lane. Melanie Troxel will be in the right. These two drivers have an interesting history. The only final that Melanie has ever been in is back in 2000. It was up against Corey McLenithan. Corey's the first person she ever raced in Top Fuel. That was back at Pomona in 2000. Mel's last semi-final round appearance was at Pomona against Corey McLenithan. I mean, you'd think she was engaged to Corey instead of Tommy Johnson.
I think she may have just got it mixed up, yeah. We heard Melanie talk about having a brake problem on the last run, and what happens is the carbon fiber rotors, they get so hot they actually boil the brake fluid inside those calipers, and then it broke this, or, you know, hurt the seals and allow some of that to leak out, so she's got to change that. And one of the things you need to do with carbon fibers, they don't work very well when they're cold, the carbon fiber rotors and brake pads. So when you do the burnout, you want to kind of ride the brake a little bit to try to build some of that heat up. Make sure you can be able to get this thing stopped if it goes over 300 miles per hour.
Way down track, you can see some dark clouds looming. Corey's in trouble. Oh, at the stripe, Melanie, 496 and a hole shot. Corey McLenithan, 493. Look at Darrell. He cannot believe it. His driver cut a 134 light to Melanie's 084. And she's into the semifinals.
Wow, this was an upset. Almost 0.05 of a second advantage for Melanie Troxell. She goes out there. You know, we saw when Corey left the starting line, he had smoke coming off the back. I thought it was spinning the tires, but it was probably some sort of engine damage. You see a cylinder go out there on Melanie's car just before the finish line, then another one on this side, but it was still enough to hold off Corey McLenithan thanks to her great driving job off of the starting line. And there's the margin of victory at the finish line, just 19,000ths of a second. Margin of victory for Melanie Troxell.
Melanie's second hole shot win of the year. Then, boy, you're right. Both cylinders out on her motor. It was getting slower. And Bill is at the far end with Melanie.
Melanie just about ready to get out of the helmet, of course. The second generation racer, her late great dad, one of the outstanding alcohol dragster drivers of all time, and on a hole shot you beat Corey McLenithan.
I can't tell you how much that means. This is so great to come here and do this at my hometown track. Corey's a tough competitor. I can't say enough about my whole team. Great group of guys. We've struggled a little bit this year, but we're just thrilled to be going rounds here at my hometown track. And thanks to everybody from Foothill Lighting, Mac Tools, Shelton's. We're going on to the next round, and I can't tell you how excited we are.
Counting that last round in qualifying yesterday, that's three strong runs down the track, Dave.
Bill, up inside the Ford Excursion of John Force, Austin Coe making final tuning decisions. Back here at the backside where the car is, Dean Antonelli waiting for final marching orders about what they're going to do for this car. In terms of last-minute adjustments, what can you do, Dean?
Well, we have a couple things we can do. In the delay box here in the timing circuit, we can either put bigger retard chips or smaller retard chips for different sections of the course.
And those chips are right here, right?
On the sides. And then also you can adjust how your clutch is coming by flow controls, which are underneath here. You have 4 of them. And then, of course, in this front box, if you want to make a bigger change, there's air timers, and you can move them hoses around or turn the timers themselves.
And all this becomes very, very crucial because right behind us on the mountain, clouds are coming out, and that's got Austin Cole's attention, guys.
And you mentioned timing. Let's give you the definition.
And timing is, the ignition timing determines when the spark plugs ignite in relation to the piston's position in the cylinder. Normally for a fuel car, it's about 60 degrees before that piston gets to top dead center.
Next up, David Baca, the American Racing Wheels top fueler. He'll be in the right lane. Kenny Bernstein over the left. First time that Baca has run up against any of the Bernstein family. And for Kenny, this will be the 138th different competitor he has faced in his career. Isn't that amazing? He was with us on our live broadcast earlier today. He's now down on the line with Dad, and Dad's moving on to the semifinals. 491 at 303 to a 496 for David Baca. We've got to take a commercial break. More Top Fuel when we come back. Back here at the Mopar Mile High Nationals, it's round 13 of the NHRA Powerade Drag Racing Series, and we're glad you're with us along with the thousands of fans here at Vandermeer Speedway. Let's quickly check in with Parker Johnstone.
And Marty, one of the email questions we received earlier is not only what do drivers do between races, but what they do between rounds in order to get ready to be at their peak performance at the start line. Well, one of the quickest guys at the start line is last year's Pro Stock champion, Jeg Coughlin. He's not practicing on a Christmas tree. He's playing Tetris. And Jeggy, why are you playing Tetris before the second round of eliminations?
You know, it keeps your mind occupied. We've already made all the calls on the car for the second round, and you know, it's a fun game. It's challenging. It's you know, it's electronics at its finest, I guess.
So a little bit of a distraction, but also keeps the hand-eye coordination going.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it'd be ideal if this thing would let you turn all the shapes with your feet, and that'd be better for me. But yeah, it's kind of a tension release for me.
Let's go up to the far end, and Bill.
Well, ever since the 75-minute rule was instituted several years ago, the crews on the nitro teams have really minimized the amount of work in the pits by getting to work on the race cars as soon as the driver makes the turn and gets out. This is Kenny Bernstein's Budweiser dragster. The crew was waiting for him even before Kenny made the run. The Suburban was down here. The guys were standing by. They've already disconnected a lot of the lines, a lot of the linkage, so that when they get the car down to the pits, they can begin the dismantling process in earnest on the rest of the motor and beat that 75-minute limit. Kenny Bernstein is right here and still alive.
Still alive and kicking, I tell you. Again, Tim, the Bud King, Lucas Oil, we appreciate it. I just can't say enough for them working it down. Brandon, we're trying to win one for him. We've been trying for 5 or 6 races now. Maybe we'll get it done today, but we've got a lot of work to do yet.
Amazing for him to win this race with Brandon at the track for the first time since the accident.
Thanks, Bill. Let's go back. Take a look at David Baca on this run because he did oil down the track and he is over the limit. So this is going to cost him $1,000 and 10 points. Here are the way the rules shake out on this. You get 3 freebies, no fine, no penalties. 4 and more, it's $500 in qualifying. But in eliminations, it's $1,000 and 10 points. And if Baca would have won, he'd have lost lane choice. It's pretty stiff. Yeah, it definitely is, and it's for a good reason. Try to keep these cars maintained. I mean, obviously you want to run them as hard as you can, but you know, you still can't, you know, try to cut down on the stupid mistakes. But up here, it's very tough to run these things because we see a lot of cylinder dropping out there. Well, to give you an idea, Baca had pulled within 24 points of Doug Herbert for 8th place in the points. He now is 34 points behind because of the penalty. Now we've got another email question from Timothy Davis on our NHRA Information Dragway presented by Lucas Oil. When and why did they stop using bleach in the water box for burnouts, Mike? Well, the win was probably in the late 70s, maybe early 80s, and the why was because a lot of different teams would go out there and use different types of compounds to do the burnouts. One being bleach, one being water, traction compounds. One guy, even match race, used Coke syrup. And then the next guy would have to go out there and run through that, and they wouldn't want to run in that type of condition. So NHRA says, okay, we're going to make everybody equal, where everybody's got to burn out through water, and that way it's the same for everybody. And I hope that gives you your answer, and we'll have more email questions as we continue down the Information Dragway. Doug Kalitta and Darrell Russell have had some interesting matchups this year. In fact, Kalitta beat Russell in round 2 back at Englishtown. Then Russell won in Columbus in the semifinals. And the last time out at the semis at St. Louis, Darrell Russell lost to Doug. They felt they had the better car that day. He lost when he fouled out. And I guarantee you, Darrell is remembering that and wants to take it away right here. Yeah, I mean, and he definitely did have the better car because he ran a quicker lapse time in that losing effort because of the red light. So that's definitely on Darrell's mind. I mean, right now he's just got to focus, not be concerned about who's in the other lane. It's easier said than done. I mean, his job is just to go out there once he stages a car, react to that yellow light as quickly as he can and get that car down the starting line as quickly as we can. Right there we see that's a great shot. That's actually the engine idle. It's idling about 2,800 RPM there. That's the LED readout. You see a lot of the other things. You know, they have oil pressure and stuff over on this side, blower boost among other things. Great shot there. Russell's up in smoke. And Kalitta, who was sleeping at the line, runs a 490-298. I mean, he gave up 3 100ths on the starting line, cutting a 121 light, but Doug Kalitta, thanks to the tune-up, wins the round. Boy, really tricky conditions. Look at the flame over there. A lot of flame out that one side. I don't know if that had anything to do with it. Obviously, it didn't look like it shook the tires. It looked like it just flat overpowered the racetrack conditions. Very tricky there. That was right at the point where you're trying to apply the clutch, get the car to accelerate as fast as it can. But when the conditions here, you can't give it a whole lot. You give it too much, you see the problem that you had, tire smoke, and you're done for the day. You see the cloud cover coming over as we're getting ready for Tony Schumacher and Larry Dixon. And as the engines come to life there, we'll send it to the far end to Bill.
Mr. Kalita, please pick up the white courtesy phone. The light is green. Hello? Doug, had a 121 light. Where were you?
I guess I was fortunate on that run, but got the win. You know, Mac Tools, Redline Oil. Pretty lucky, I guess.
You did everything the way you normally do?
I'll have to think about it and hopefully do better next time.
Don't think too long.
Great comeback. You know, we were talking about overpowering the racetrack as these guys get ready to do the burnout. And you hear us talking about backing down the motors to keep from overpowering the racetrack. Well, we've got several ways to back it down.
Well, one of the main things is thicker head gaskets. That actually lowers the compression. That takes away a little bit of horsepower. Slow the supercharger overdrive, not pumping as much air into the engine. Dilute the nitro. That means put a little bit more methanol. They're limited at 90%, but you can run 88, 87%. That will take horsepower away. Retard the ignition timing. That's the thing they do the most. Take timing away from it. That really slows the amount, or takes down the amount of horsepower. Reduce the amount of clutch engagement. Usually they'll do this along with those other things, and when you do that, you have to reduce the fuel flow, otherwise it drops the cylinder. And when you reduce the fuel flow, and you're not burning as much fuel, you're not making as much horsepower.
So it's so simple, anybody could do it. Put in your job application right now. Tell you what, these two have met 4 times so far this year. Tony Schumacher has won 1 of them. It was a big one, a final at Chicago. That was, remember, the first race where Alan Johnson came on board. But the other 3 have belonged to this man right here. And look at his win percentage, 83%.
Boy, Dick LaHaye and Larry Dixon, I mean, what can you say? I mean, for the last 2 years, that car's just been unbelievable. Even though they lost championship in 2 years ago to Kenny Bernstein, they were in the championship until the end, and they came back at that great season last year, and they're still continuing it.
Say bye-bye, Tony. Larry Dixon goes 477. That's low for the round by a bunch. I mean, that is a backbreaker. His 472 in the first round, now a 477 here. Oh, my goodness. Take a look at what happens to Tony.
Man, Larry Dixon's breaking their backs. Let's watch the tire right there. See the tire shake, very quick tire shake, and then into tire smoke. We talk about sometimes it's underpowered and it goes into shake. That looked like it was overpowered because when it shakes that quick and goes into smoke, I think it's just a little bit too much clutch and too much power at that point on the racetrack.
Semi-final matchups. Lane choice going by 14/100ths to Larry Dixon. That's a ton in top fuel. And by 6/100ths, it's Doug Kalita with Melanie Troxel. When we come back, more of the Caps Cam when we return to Bandamere Speedway at the Mopar Mile Nationals. Of course, we're here at Bandamere Speedway and our NHRA Information Dragway all weekend long, presented by Lucas Oil. And one of the features has been our Caps Cam. That's right. In this week's Powerade Profile, we gave Ron Capps a camera to make a home video documenting his weekend back in St. Louis. So from start to finish, here is what Ron saw through his own eyes.
There they are. I'm in St. Louis. Here comes Buggy again to tell me I'm late. Am I running late? I told him you always come by to tell me I'm late.
You're not late, you are.
Okay, all right. Just checking. Also, all those TV guys, you think the interviews just pop up. This is what it's all about. They come over and they tell you they want to do an interview. And then they stand around and say that we're put on hold for 40 seconds. But 40 seconds usually means about 10 minutes. This is what we do in the staging lanes. We sit back here, we listen to Top Fuel, who's running in front of us over the radio, and in between the music. So right now, if you listen.
In the next round, the competition. Mitch Sterler comes from a great drag racing family. Family members setting records 40 years ago, literally.
We're last pair of funny cars, so we're 4th pair, second round of funny cars. 4 pairs of dragsters in the second round. So we'll kind of sit back here and wait until there's 4 in front of me. The last pair of dragsters all get in. That'll give me time to get buckled in and strapped in.
is in trouble. And Caps is on to the semifinals.
They put a hole out, shoved me to the guardrail, and then I saw Dale at the other side, and I had the wheel cranked as hard as I could, trying to bring it back. Oh, it's a good weekend. We did okay in points, and you know, we need to make a move in the Powerade Championship, and this is it. Back down. So we just lost the semis. Now we're giving Dale, who just whooped my butt, a ride back, because he's one of the good guys in the sport. So, see, when us drivers in interviews say, "Oh, we don't worry about the points," it's all a bunch of crap. It's all about the points. I should have won by him, but I count him after every race.
The Caps cam, and we thank Ron. And there's Tony Pedregon talking about points. He's the points leader. Second round of Funny Car when we come back. Nice arm. We're here at the Mopar Mile High Nationals, Denver, Colorado at Bandamere Speedway. Glad you're with us as we're into second round of Funny Car. And there is the ladder. The arrow indicates that Wilkerson and Scusa have the lane choice on the left side, and it's Cannon and Force over on the right. And it will be Tim and Cruz Pedregon. And there is the onboard camera with Cruz. If you weren't with us yesterday, he took us on the complete run from basically start to finish. It was a great trip. And now Tim Wilkerson, the #1 qualifier. We're going to get a chance to talk to him. Tim, this is Marty Reed. Do you hear me?
Hello, Marty.
Well, it looks like you got one more step to go to get to the semifinals. What's the game plan here with this cloud cover?
We haven't changed a thing. We're just going to try and go down the track. If Cruz can beat us, he can have it.
All right. We'll talk to you later. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right. Interesting. They did not change a thing. And he basically said, if Cruz can get it, it's his.
Yeah, and I think that's a good call. I mean, he ran a 5:10. I mean, if he can do that again, I think that would be a pretty good run in these conditions. Cruz is right there in the first round, so Tim's gonna have his work cut out for him. He's gonna have to be on his game on the light and hopefully get that thing down the other end if he wants to get around Cruz Pedregon.
Guess what? Cruz is going to get it. 5:09.292. That is a low elapsed time of eliminations. And with the different body that they put back on the car after blowing the burst panel, he went very well down that racetrack.
Boy, this was just a nice run. Look on board here with Cruz Pedregon. You see him working the steering wheel, trying to keep that thing in the groove. It got over toward the center a little bit, but then he brought it right back. Another backfire right there at the finish line. Obviously had a little bit of trouble, just like we saw in the first round, but still a 5:09. That's a great pass.
And look at the team. Everybody just thrilled. That's Wife Sharon on the left. And I'll tell you, she is one happy teammate, but whoops, a little bit of engine damage at the far end. Now let's talk about engine damage with Dave Reith.
Yeah, Marty, for Dale Creasy Jr., it's what was already an expensive weekend almost became catastrophic. You see what's left of the second funny car body. Good news is going to be able to patch that up. But Dale, 2 big boomers in one weekend. Can you figure out why this is going on?
We're not really sure. We think we're having a valve problem. I don't know, maybe we're trying to run it too hard up here on the mountain. I don't know. It's been the same problem both runs. It dropped the valve, which knocks the blower off. It pushes the rod out. It's not good, but I'll call my guys at VSI, the parts store I deal with, and I'll get some new valves, and we'll get this thing back on the road.
Seattle, Sonoma, no problems. We'll be able to make it on down the road?
The Crescent Pontiac will be at every race this year, and some way or another, we're going to get it there. We'll have to work a little harder this week, but we'll be there.
Still searching for their first round win of the year. Sit down to the far end, Bill.
Yeah, another team that's got a chocolatey mess on their hands is Cruz Pedregon, but I get a feeling it's not that big a concern. What's gotten into you this weekend, young man?
We're winning. That's the bottom line. Hey, I always thank the sponsors, but really Snap-on. There's a couple guys. Auto Vent Shade have been with me for a while. Pure later, but it blew up again. I'm a little excited here. I haven't been here in a while, but it's hurting the blower. Somehow we're running lean down there and it's popping the blower, and we got to get another blower on it because I think we've got a good car today. I think we can win if we can keep the blower on it.
And the lucky thing for Cruz he hits the stripe before trouble strikes.
Well, and you saw it on the replay there. I mean, right as he crosses the line, that's when it went bang.
Yeah, both runs, it looked like as he's coming out of the throttle, that's when it's backfiring. So that's something they're going to have to look at when they go back and look at the data.
Scotty Cannon up against Frank Pedregon. Scotty turned 41 a week ago today. He'd like to give himself a little late birthday present. Frank's going to try and deny him. Because Scotty hasn't been to a semifinal since the fall race of Chicago last year. It has been a long drought.
This is a good matchup here. Both these cars need to do well here this weekend, and both tough competitors. I mean, Scotty Cannon, obviously, with that great win in the first round, upsetting Tony, wants to be able to do good here up on the mountain.
No, not going to happen. Boy, and Frank just lays on it, and he has engine damage as well. A 550 at 256. He had no way of knowing that Scotty could not even get back into control of the car, so he leaned on it hard, and Frank gets the win. But boy, I'll tell you, there's a lot of smoke coming out of there, and there's the burst panel again, so more damage.
Well, you know, you're right, Marty. When you're ahead, you can't see the other guy. Frank Pedregon had no idea where Scotty Cannon was. Look at that thing. It makes a hard turn to the right because of this cylinder being out. That pressure, lack of pressure, actually drove the car over towards the wall. Then it gets out of the groove and starts spinning the tires. By then he tries to bring the thing back around. It's got another cylinder out over there, but he doesn't see Scotty Cannon. He's got to drive that thing to the light because it's eliminations. Had it been a qualifying run, he definitely would have shut off early because Frank's a very good driver. He's got a good feel for the car. But look at this car make a move to the right. Here's the groove over here. He's way out, almost a full car length out of the groove over towards the wall. That allows the thing to start spinning the tires, even though it was only on 7 cylinders. There just wasn't any rubber out there for it to stick.
It looks like he's still trying to get some air, Bill.
Yeah, I see a pattern developing here with the Pedregon family. You and Cruz both have had 2 win lights today, Frankie, but you've sprained the motor both times.
Yeah, it actually dropped a hole early, but you keep on him. It's eliminations, and I heard him shouting. I think it's something happened to him or something. I probably should have lifted, but his eliminations, I don't hear anything but when I cross that finish line. I started breathing a lot of those fumes and fire and whatever. So I take a little bit of oxygen, but hey, we're in the final round now. Or no, semifinals, right?
Yeah, semis.
Hell with it, we're in the finals.
And then maybe the finals after that.
Yeah, let's just skip those semifinals. Jump right to the final round. What the heck? You know, we always talk about the safety safari. They are the great people who do all the work, and they are the team of professionals who are responsible for prepping the track and responding to the emergencies during the race. We've got to take a commercial break here at Bandamere Speedway at the Mopar Mile High Nationals. Stay with us. We're coming right back. Here at Bandamere Speedway, it is really starting to get overcast, very threatening skies up above. But the biggest threat right now is on the racetrack. John Force and Whit Bazemore, and there is Lee Beard, turned 50 years old on Friday. Somebody was kidding him, hey, Zay just finally caught up with the color of his hair, and they've been beating on him unmercifully in the Matco Tools camp, and we'll wish him a happy birthday. Right now, he's focused on that Mopar Dodge, getting down the racetrack and beating John Force. This is the last Mopar left in the event. That includes all the divisions. In fact, John Bandamere and the Mopar folks do such a great job here with everything in the track preparation. They also have a charity golf tournament for Race 3, and like 33 teams out there competing for it. I think they raised like $15,000 this year. Force, though, right now, he's got the job of playing blocker for Tony Pedregon. The points down to 124. Was Force playing a game or what? He went deep. We'll have to ask him. Or did he make a mistake? Because he ran a 5:13 to a 5:20, and he stops the bleeding for Tony Pedregon at 124 points. This could have been huge for Whit Bazemore. Now they're going to be wondering, oh my, what would have been?
Well, you know, the last time we saw John Force stage deep where he put the top light out, he red lighted it at Englishtown. This time wasn't the case. Track wasn't quite as good. He was only 17 thousandths from red, so it was pretty close. So he was very, very close to possibly red lighting and giving it away. But Austin Coyle had a great tune-up on that thing, a 5:13. Remember, when you stage deep, you usually lose some elapsed time. Normally, when you put the top light out, it's about 0.05 of a second. So, I mean, you do the math. That was actually a very, very good run.
And let's take a look at what deep staging's all about. Watch how he'll go in just a little bit deeper.
About 7 inches farther to put that top light out. And here's what deep stage means. A driver's deep stage, when after staging, he or she rolls a few inches, normally about 7 inches, causing the pre-stage light to go out. The driver's closer to the finish line, but maybe at the risk of a foul start.
And as we go to Bill, John has now beaten Whit 34 times to losing only 9. He's got his number.
Well, if you follow John Force's career at all, you know that when the pressure's on and it's a big round, he is at his best. John, you had a 17 light and a 513, and you still can do it when you need to.
That's all I can do at this age. They talk about this old man, but even my children, my Ashley went down today and yesterday, and my 2 drivers, Tony and Ditcham. So now I got a reason. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of other Americans out here at my age, and you just get up for the fight and you do it. And bottom line, I'm not in the points chase yet, but I can do some damage to Tony. And Bazemore, I tell you, he just gets you up. He's a hell of a driver, and maybe he's a damn good driver. In fact, I'm just educating him a little bit because I might just have to hire that boy. He's pretty dang good. Thank you.
Oh, I'd love to see that.
Hey, tell John one thing with that round victory. He just moved past Ron Katz into 5th place in the championship points chase. So he's starting to move up the standings. Dean Scusa, he's having a good weekend. I mean, this team running on limited budget. He's up against Tommy Johnson Jr. over in the left lane.
Dean Scusa's looked very good all weekend, all through qualifying, first round, very consistent. Crew Chief Brian Karate's been doing a very, very good job with that team.
Is going to his first semifinal since Indianapolis of last year. He runs a 5:15 to a 5:16, and he was first off the line. Can't ask much more than that. Let's go to Parker.
Marty, we got an email from Bill Gravel from Illinois, and he asked Crew Chief Dick LaHaye. He notices that he attaches a gauge to the engine. He wants to know what the gauge is and what you're looking at and adjusting.
Well, it's just a liquid-filled gauge that we check the fuel pressure with. If we try to do the burnout with when we have the pumps turned on all the way, or when we start the engine, it's too much fuel. And so I trim it back to between 55 and 60 pounds and let him do the burnout. When he backs up, it stays there. He goes in stages, then he turns the pump on all the way. It goes to maximum fuel pressure, and he stands on the gas. Thanks for the question, Bill.
Down at Frankie Pedregon's pit, that car just returning after that big explosion down with the car owner and the crew chief, Jim Dunn. Jim, let's walk back up to this car here with the discernible smell of oil and the, well, in fact, it's laying all over everything. Oh, yeah. It's obviously problems with the backside of this engine.
Well, no, the problem's on the bottom side. All the rods came out of it. We dropped cylinders, and when we're racing someone, he stays on it till he knows he's beat. He didn't see him, so he did his job and drove it to the light. So we'll change motors now, injectors and blowers. Hopefully we don't have another blower tuned up for this track, so we just go up there and roll the dice and hope it starts.
As far as the computer data, you haven't had a chance to even download that to take a look, see if it gives you any indications, right?
No, you know, we're just over center for up here. We don't, you know, we run here once a year. We just don't get enough data in it. I mean, I'll just put it back up there and let it blow up again.
Well, it's just a story we're going to stick with, Marty, because I have a feeling this 75-minute turnaround is going to be pretty tight for these guys.
And that clock is the funny car clock. 1 minute 38 seconds and running right now. And let's go to the far end. Bill's with Dean Scusa.
Hey, Dean, remember me?
Yeah, it's been a while. And you know what? It's so darn good to see you.
Oh, I missed you so badly.
Oh, I missed you.
Tell me the truth, though. This is as good as you looked all year.
I'm telling you, now's the time, because we just put this Cornwell Tools sponsorship together. They've been with us for 3 years, and the distributors have really supported this program. And I'm the first to tell you, I'm embarrassed of the performance we've had in those past 3 years. So now's the time. I mean, with full signage on the car, that's kind of, we can make up for lost ground, I'm hoping. And Redline Oil, too. Don't forget those guys.
Last time he was on the mountain at the Mopar Mile High Nationals, he was in a Mopar. He was in a Pontiac.
And we can feel the love all the way up here in the booth, guys. Lane choice going to Chris Pedregon over Dean Scusa, and John Force over Frank Pedregon. When we come back, it'll be time for the Factory Hot Rods Pro Stock. Getting good between Greg Anderson and Kurt Johnson. Stay with us. The clock is running in the funny car 75-minute turnaround. Frank Pedregon's team and Jim Dunn Racing feverishly at work. And as we get ready to turn our attention to Pro Stock, we'll show you the ladder as we go into second round action. Greg Anderson, Jim Yates have the lane choice on the left side. Over on the opposite side, Kurt Johnson and Ron Krischer against the Coughlin brothers. And it will be Ron Krischer up against Troy Coughlin. Troy looking to go to back-to-back semifinals for the first time since Phoenix.
I tell you, Ron Krish has been running awfully good coming off that win in St. Louis. He looks very good here. You know, qualified 3rd position and been very consistent.
Joining us in the booth, Scott Jeffrion. More with him in a second as we get ready for this run. Red light, Krischer throws it away. A 7:30, Krischer throws away a 7:27. He's going to be kicking himself because he was so good on the tree last year. His 7th foul. And, boy, I'll tell you, he had 2 hole shot wins last time out as he marched his way to victory in St. Louis. And as we promised, we've got Scott Jeffrion joining us in the booth. What happened this weekend? Didn't quite make the show.
Yeah, we just struggled. It's unfortunate. We came up here and we tested so well. We were actually quicker than Warren, Kurt, and Greg and everything. But we made an engine change because we know this one engine we have runs better at sea level, and we just never quite found the combination for up here. We struggled with shaking the tires. I had to abort 2 of the runs. So just one of them things, you know, you hang around Pro Stock long enough, you're going to have those weekends once in a while. Even WJ has them once in a while, you know, where you don't get in.
Well, we appreciate you taking the time to be up here with us, and we'll get your comments as we go back down trackside for Jim Yates and Mike Edwards. Edwards, the defending event winner here from last year.
Yeah, he obviously likes it up here on the mountain, but I'll tell you another guy that likes it up here lately is Jim Yates. I mean, he's been looking very good, ran very consistent in qualifying. First round, his driving's been on pretty good. What do you think, Scott?
I think Jim is really, I think he's the dark horse here. You know, everybody's thinking that Kurt Warren or Greg are going to win this race today, but I think Jim is going to have something to say about that before the day's over.
Did you notice any difference in the lanes during qualifying?
No, I didn't, really. And when we tested up here, we tested in both lanes, and really they're virtually equal.
Yeah, the car can't breathe or get down in either one.
Yeah, there you go. We're probably down about 300 horsepower up here on the hill, but
I'll tell you what, it's a credit to all the teams just to be able, I mean, sometimes you found out earlier that it's even hard to get them just to fire, let alone run down the track. Here we go. Boy, big advantage off the line for Edwards. And Mike seals the deal with a hole shot. 729, 189 to a quicker but losing 727. Let's go to Dave Reef.
As promised, we're hanging out in the K&N Filters pit where work continues on Frankie Pendergaan's funny car. Deep inside the trailer, that's where we're going to find Big Jim Dunn. Now getting a little bit of an idea what exactly happened to that car as he takes a look at his computer data. And it all starts with the engine RPMs and a red line you see on the screen. But Jim, take a look at see what you see.
Well, I pulled the motor down here, and there's the dry shaft to smoke the tires out here at 2.8 seconds. As I probably goofed it up, that cylinder dropped out there. That one dropped out there. That one ran. That one ran. That one ran. That one, it dropped number 4 at 1 second, so I started loading everything. So it didn't have enough power to carry the tires fast enough. So then it smoked the tires because it didn't have enough power.
And there you have it.
As we go back down trackside, thank you, Dave. Jeg Coughlin Jr. in the left lane, Kurt Johnson over in the right lane, and this is big. Jeg is 4th in the points, Kurt 2nd.
This is going to be a great matchup here.
Jeg goes in first. Kurt, clock's going to run you out. Oh, big advantage for Coughlin. And the kid who was playing Tetris, hole shot.
Excellent job. 726 to his 724. Great job.
His first hole.
Well, one of us are going into the final, man. It's a great weekend. Let's keep it marching.
His first hole shot of the win, and he mentions one of us is going to the final. That's because he's going to meet brother Troy in the semis.
Boy, Jeg did a job on the starting line. That's what got the win. Was we watch him run through the gears nice and smooth. 726, it was enough to get the win.
And as we go to the far end, hey, Bill, this guy's got 2 hole shot wins of his own so far today.
And I'll tell you something about Mike Edwards, one of the all-time great sportsman racers in the last season of Modified Eliminator, won the championship, won this race in that class. Of course, you were with David Nickens during all those great comp years, and 2 times today, you've been pulling people right off the line.
That's part of the game, you know, Bill. We pull out there, and best man who can get off that line best is got the advantage. So, you know, we're trying for repeat here like we did last year. So, you know, we got 2 down and 2 more to go.
See who's going to face him in just a couple of minutes.
Yes, we will. And let's get another one of our NHRA Information Dragway emails from AJ Yulee. I hope I pronounced that right, AJ. He wants to know how much of a pro stock car is actually stock. Scott, we'll let you take that one.
I'd say probably none of it, really. The only thing that's stock is the body configurations. In other words, the measurements of the body, because the body's all carbon fiber, but it does conform to what a steel body does on the street in every area within 1/8 of an inch.
Okay, so I hope that answers your question, AJ. Everything else is pure race bred. And here is the professor, Warren Johnson, and he has now got to help son Kurt, because if Greg Anderson over in that right lane wins this round, the points lead will jump from 71 to 91. Uh-oh. Staging duel. Who's going in first? Greg Anderson. Whoa, Warren. First off the line. Can he hold on? The answer is yes. 724 with a 5 by 1/1000th of a second. The man who has been to 8 finals here in the mountain, cut his teeth racing on tracks like Continental Divide. Howell has always been strong. Look at this performance.
Boy, when WJ gets on. He struggled in qualify, but they came out in the first round, ran that great number 724, backed it up with another 724 and a great 013 reaction time to leave on Greg Anderson's 027. Margin of victory at the finish line, 15,000ths of a second. As we watch WJ, this looks like pretty much like a perfect run, huh, Scott?
Yeah, it did. They both ran excellent. And Warren, I'll tell you, once he gets past that first round, he's awful tough. He's been driving very well, as has Kurt this year.
Here are the semifinal matchups, and you can see lane choice is going to go to the professor by 5/100ths, and in the brothers Coughlin, it will be by 4/100ths to younger brother Jag. So we're going to stay right here as we get ready for Pro Stock Bike, and here is the ladder, and the arrow indicates it's Karen Stouffer and Gino Scali, the points leader, with the lane choice on the left side. The right side, Andrew Hines and Fred Collis. You want to stick around and stay with us, Scott, even though I know you don't ride 2 wheels?
Yeah, why not?
Okay, here we go. Fred Collis goes red. They both do, actually, but Fred is worst. And Mike Berry's going to the semifinals as he runs a 7:69 at 1:73. And his last semifinal was Gainesville. Let's go to Bill.
Got the reigning Powerade Pro Stock champion, the former Powerade Pro Stock champion on a hole shot, Jeggy. He just did to his son what everybody was expecting you to do. You took him off at the starting line.
Yeah, you know, we've been coming into our own here this weekend. We've got the power out there. We've been running in the top 2, 3 in speed every run, and just fine-tuning our driving skills for the mile-high conditions is going to be the key for the rest of the day to survive.
Warren, that was pretty spectacular. Lost that last run in qualifying last night. Came out here today. You haven't been able to be stopped yet. You beat the points leader.
Well, this Pro Stock racing is so exciting. They should actually have a Powerade Pro Stock bottle. That's what it really needs. No, the guy's been working on it. We had just kind of a faux pas last night. One of those things that happened, you know. I got over it after I got back to the trailer. And this Performance Parts Grand Am is starting to come around. We were a little iffy going into this race. Tested relatively well, but not as good as we wanted to. Kurt had the front half of the track figured out. I had the back half. We just couldn't get the two married, and maybe it's coming around.
Nobody has their head up their butt today.
If you weren't with us, that was what Warren said when he was upset. Guess what? Blaine Hale is going to his first ever semifinal. It's at the expense of Karen Stouffer breaking at the starting line. A tough break for Karen, but a 7:73, and Blaine is in to the semifinals. So a good run for Blaine. Let's take another look at this.
Watch Blaine really have to lean this bike. It moves over towards the center line. He has to lean over towards the side a little bit to try to keep that thing in the middle of the groove. Problem is we talked about before. Look at that, how much he's got to lean. You lose that contact area on that tire, and then it gets a little bit too much spin, just like in the Pro Stocks, and you lose a little bit of elapsed time when that happens. But he brings it right around, gets it stuck in the middle towards the finish line. Actually, I think that was a pretty good job.
I feel a lot safer. I got a roll cage around me. They got nothing when they get loose.
I agree with you. I'll tell you. Look at Sean Gann looking right into the lens. He's told me earlier, he says, whatever you want to make up about me, I'll agree with it. That's the kind of free spirit that he is. I said, I can't think of anything that wild.
Does he know how dangerous that statement is?
I know. Giving a reporter free license, I'll tell you. Gino Scali, the points leader right now, 89 over Angel, and every round he goes, it's 20 more. Who's going in first? Gann, third in the points. Sean in. Red light, Gann, his third foul of the year. Now, it's the second time we've had both guys go red. First is worst is the rule. In other words, whoever committed the foul first is the one who gets penalized, and that means it is Gino Scali going to the semifinals. There's some fans having a great time here at Bandamere. So are we. Come on back.
We're animals out here.
Seattle, we're coming your way next weekend. Saturday qualifying on ESPN2 at 8 o'clock Eastern time. And then on Sunday, NHRA Today, 11 a.m. Eastern, ESPN2 with host Bill Stevens. Then switch over to ESPN for early eliminations, 4 o'clock Eastern. Final eliminations back over here on ESPN2 at 10:30 Eastern time. That's all next weekend from Seattle. For more, log on to ESPN.com. Now, another NHRA information Dragway question presented by Lucas Oil. And Jorge Rodriguez from Eagan, Minnesota wants to know, do Pro Stock car suspension systems use springs, coils, or link bars? Parker, help us out.
Well, Marty, to answer Jorge's question, I've enlisted the help and advice of Alan Johnson. Alan, what sort of suspension do you run at the front and the rear of a Pro Stock car?
Well, Jorge, thanks for writing in, but we'll just walk around and I'll show you. The front of the car has a Pearson strut type front suspension with a coilover spring. It has 2 adjustments, one for pressure down and pressure up, so you can adjust that spring in a lot of different ways. Back on the rear of the car, we have several different components. On the rear spring, you have the same coilover type spring on the shock. You have adjustments also on top and bottom for pressure and rebound. See the wheelie bars trailing off of that. Then up in front of that, you have a 4-link suspension with about 60 different variables where you can adjust that suspension to the track. You have a trailing arm up above to keep the rear end from floating to one side to the other. You have a wishbone at the bottom to keep everything in the middle. But very complicated system, but our crew chiefs, they work these things a lot, and they know where to set them for what kinds of things.
Thanks for the explanation, Alan. Thanks for the question, Jorge. Fielding our next email question is Dave Reeve.
Well, Parker, Linda from Pennsylvania must have watched yesterday's show because she thinks it's a driver's job to mix the fuel and asks why drivers and not other crew members mix the fuel. And is that an NHRA rule? Well, as we back away from this fuel beaker, that's not Kenny Bernstein. So part of the question's answered right there, KB.
Yeah, no, it is not a rule that the driver has to mix the fuel. A lot of drivers do because that's one of their responsibilities. Most of my responsibilities through the whole time of my driving career have been parachute and fuel. But with Tim aboard, I said, let somebody else mix that fuel. Obviously, it has to meet 90%. That's the whole point right there. But anyone can mix it.
We thank you for your question, Linda. This man on to the semifinals.
And thanks, guys. Now, as we talk about pedaling from time to time, when the car loses traction, the drivers have to get off, then get back on the gas pedal. And boy, it has a tough time regaining traction. This procedure is known as pedaling. Here's Gary Scelzi to explain the process.
When we leave the starting line and we see yellow, we slam the throttle down to the floor. As the car gets to 150 to 200 feet, the clutch starts to apply. If it's too soon or too slow, the car will start to shake violently. When it does that, what a driver will do is give what we call a quick pedal, like that. What it does is it slows everything down, gives a chance for the tire to catch up, and hopefully rehook and accelerate down the race course. Sometimes what happens if the car smokes the tire hard, the driver has to come completely off the throttle, reach over and yank the brake to slow the tire speed down, to get the tire hooked to the asphalt, and then roll the throttle down slowly and then let go of the brake, or let go of the brake slowly. It's hard to do in 4.5 seconds.
You know, and Gary Scelzi also talks about one of the main things that you have to be is you have to have a very good feel for the car. In other words, you have to feel that car start to shake the tires or start to break loose so you can catch it quick enough to be able to get the car to recover. If you don't get it quick enough to get recovered, then what happens is the car is basically going to spin the tires all the way to the finish line, and then it's basically a high-speed burnout where you're just trying to keep the butterflies the throttle not open too far. As we're going to see here, watch this run with Doug Herbert. Watch the butterflies. He's about half throttle there, just trying to get that thing hooked up, and then right at the end, he's going to go full throttle to get it to the other end. That's what you want to do in lap situation so that the engine doesn't expire before the finish line, and hopefully you get there before your competition does.
So when we come back, it'll be time for Top Fuel semifinals. Get ready, because Melanie Troxel is in the semifinals. So is that man right there, and Kenny Bernstein. Oh, the skies are threatening. We've had a few sprinkles here at the Mopar Mile High Nationals, but we're getting ready for the semifinals. And in Top Fuel, who's going to the big show? Will it be Larry Dixon, the points leader, Kenny Bernstein in the Budweiser King, or Melanie Troxel, or second in the points, Doug Coletta? And the first pair up is going to be Doug Coletta and Melanie Troxel. And after the burnout, and there may be a problem with Melanie's car. No, it finally fires, so she's getting ready. She'll just get a little later start on the burnout. While she does that, there's a breaking story in Funny Car. What's going on, Dave Reef?
Well, Marty, through all the chaos of the big engine explosion, there was also one other glaring omission from the K&N Filters pit, and it was the man seen crawling into the cockpit right now, Frank Pedrigon, not back in the pit for a long, long time. Apparently, after that big explosion, they held him in the ambulance for a long, extended period of time, trying to get his pulse ox and the other numbers they like to see a little higher, so he was not here to help with this turnaround. Subsequently, this team was not able to complete the 75-minute turnaround. In fact, they were just finishing up, buttoning everything, trying to warm the car, not realizing that it was time to go. Frankie's strapping in right there in the pit area. It's going to be nip and tuck still. It'll be a miracle if they move on.
So, Dave, they did not do a warm-up?
No warm-up at all on this car. In fact, they were still tightening the bolts on the clutch pack as Frankie was climbing in.
Yeah, that's tough to do, but one of the things they can do when they start the car up to make the run, Frank can actually hold his hand on the brake pedal, on the brake handle, and let his foot off the clutch. That will build a little bit of heat in the clutch and then go do the burnout, and hopefully that'll be enough to make that thing hook up and get the win.
Melanie Troxel looking to go to her second Top Fuel final in her career. Doug Coletta looking to go to his second in a row. Coletta, 476 as he gets into the 70s for the first time today. Melanie gave it a good run, 497, 280 miles an hour. Dave Reef, get us some more.
Well, Big Jim Dunn, you talked about this crazy turnaround in the blower that you got to pop on this car, and now you don't even get a chance to warm it. Safe to say this is going to be a miraculous thing if you can pull the win out?
Oh, yeah. We lost son here 2 weeks ago. Hope he's watching. And we'll go up there and roll the dice, see what's going to happen.
Nervous?
Yeah, I'm always nervous. It might blow up in my hands. It makes me nervous.
So, Big Jim Dunn got a lot on his mind. And as we come back to the starting line, so does Kenny Bernstein. Different kind of thought process for KB. First time he's going up against that old Nemesis blue car since he climbed back into the cockpit. And there is Larry Dixon. So for Dixon and Kenny Bernstein, this will be the 41st time that they have hooked up head-to-head. Dave Reef.
Marty, tough to believe Frank Pedrigon obviously having problems. We touched on that. If you look one pit next door immediately to the north, you will find Dean Scusa in the Cornwell Tools car in the exact same boat. They just got the top put on this funny car. The NHRA has been calling it in the lanes for about the last 10 minutes. Dean Scusa is getting set to strap in right here in the pit area as well.
Did they get a warm-up in?
A warm-up on Dean Scusa's car?
Yeah.
They did get a warm-up on Dean Scusa's car. I'm getting a double thumbs up right now.
Okay, so, boy, I'll tell you what, this is going to be a dramatic set of semifinals.
Normal service, Marty. No other problems, though. Normal service.
All right, as these guys back up, let's quickly go to the top end where Doug Coletta is going to his 6th final of the year. Bill?
Hey, how about that Connie Coletta, Jim Oberhofer hot weather tune-up, huh?
Yeah, the guys are doing good. You know, what can I say about them? They've got us to the final here, and, you know, the whole team's working real hard. We've been struggling a little bit, you know, but, you know, Redline all, everybody that's supporting this effort, we're happy to be going to the final.
Going back to St. Louis now. That's 7 straight runs down the racetrack for this team on a rather hot racetrack with no problems at all.
And his reaction time was a lot better than the round prior. Right now, all eyes on Larry Dixon, the points leader, and Kenny Bernstein playing the role of spoiler. Quickly, Dave, is there something else going on?
It's hard to believe I'm standing here waiting for these guys to pull out. Here comes Cruz Pedregon, obviously late as well. So 3 of our 4 semifinalists are going to be awful late getting up into the staging lane.
You better go check John Force real fast.
Not a bad idea.
Time to go racing here in Top Fuel. His 9th final of the year, his 56th of his career, and he just keeps racking up points. Doug Kalita keeps pace, so it's going to be number 1 and number 2 in the finals.
Boy, just another great job by Larry Dixon, Dick LaHaye, and that whole team to get down there at 473. I mean, before Doug Kalita ran that 476, they were just breaking everybody's back. Doug kind of narrowed the gap up a little bit, but I'll tell you what, they still look awfully good with these conditions. 473. 260 miles an hour in the 8th. That was a great run.
And there is John Force waiting for somebody to come on up and play a little tag with him. Let's take a look at the Top Fuel final matchup and look at this. Boy, 3 straight runs in the 70s for Larry Dixon. By 3/100ths, he'll have the lane choice. Let's go to the far end of Bill.
Larry Dixon is out of the car. You missed a shot at Doug Kalita in St. Louis 3 weeks ago, Larry, but this is the guy that you're going to have to beat head-to-head. Now you got him in the final.
Well, it's just, yeah, the worst. I don't know. I don't really think about it like that. I just try to race everybody hard, whatever round we're in, and, you know, try to get them win lights. And if you get more win lights than anybody else, you get more points. So that's it. We're in the final round. We're in position to win, going up against, obviously, the, you know, the other 470 cars. So we'll just go out there and stab the gas and see how it turns out.
And we enjoyed another beer car duel, and it was a good one.
Guys, I'm not sure what's going on, but Jeg and Troy Coughlin's cars were ready a long time ago. They're just pulling out of the pits. They, too, are late and rushing down towards the staging lanes. I'm not sure what's going on. Dave?
Well, some of that, Parker, I'm talking to some of the teams and some of the NHRA officials. Marty's been talking about the cloud cover coming in all day long. Well, apparently there's something on the radar that has the NHRA officials kind of expediting things just a little bit. Although Frank Pedregon did have problems, we touched on that. Frank Pedregon just now getting into the staging lane. John Force has been waiting for him for about 2 minutes.
And you hear us talking about the staging lanes. There they are.
And that is the area of the race facility which leads to the drag strip. This is where cars are lined up and or paired before qualifying and eliminations begin.
And we've got to take a commercial break, and here come a couple of race cars heading to the staging lanes. And we'll be back here at Vandermeer Raceway at the Mopar Mile High Nationals. Back here at round 13 of the NHRA Power A Drag Racing Series, along with Mike Dunn, Bill Stevens, Dave Reeves, Parker Johnstone, our entire ESPN2 crew. I'm Marty Reed, and you are looking at John Force and also Frank Pedregon. They're having trouble with the body work now, and John's already done the burnout, so it's not getting any better for the K&N Filters flopper. The motor has fired. Then now they're going to bring him up to the line as he gets ready to go through the water box and do the burnout. This is a huge race for John Force. Let me tell you what we're talking about. Force has gone to the last 2 straight finals. Hasn't won a race yet this year. We've all been focusing on that. But think about this. He could take over 4th place in the points if he wins this round. That's how strong he's starting to get going. So, big round for John Force. Now, as far as Frank Pedregon, let me put you in the driver's seat. You've been spending all the time in the ambulance, getting oxygen, whatever else they wanted to do to check you out. You haven't had time to warm up the car. What's going through your head there?
Well, and you've had the car blow up in the first 2 rounds, and now you're up against John Force. I mean, could there be any more pressure on you? I mean, if I'm Frank Pedregon, I'm not even worried about John Force. I don't even care who's in the other lane. I'm just hoping everything's good and I can hit that gas and everything's going to stay together and just see what happens.
John's into his 3rd straight final, a 5:03, 303 miles an hour. He's going to his 166th career final, Dave Reef.
And for Jim Dunn, not the win you were looking for, but still an incredible effort with a 5:26, not warming, not doing anything.
Yeah, you know, because different motor, different compression, and we just hoped it started, and it did. So like I said, our kid Jeff's watching us.
The world feeds you lemons, make lemonade, and they're drinking it up.
Take another look as John runs low ET of funny car eliminations.
Boy, this was just a nice run at 503 at over 303 miles per hour. See, the conditions are getting good. Got that cloud covered, getting a little bit cooler, able to make that horsepower. A little bit cooler conditions also give you a little bit more downforce. You see it starting to eat the cylinder, or eating the heads up a little bit before the finish line, but still that's a great pass.
All right, let's get more on Pro Stock. Parker.
Well, Marty, the big family matchup in the Pro Stock semis is between brothers Troy and Jeg Coughlin. Older brother Troy has won 4 times in their last 10 meetings in Pro Stock. But when you guys get behind the wheel at the start line, there's no love loss, is there?
No, not really. You know, I want to see Troy win as bad as he wants to see me win. And, you know, we're running for championships out here as we have in years past. And in critical points of the year, he's ended up getting the best of me. So we're just going to have to wait and see. I'm pretty fired up. We're running real well. He's real fired up. He's been running as good as he has since the first of the season. So it's going to be a good run.
They shook hands before Troy left, heading down the staging lanes. But I can tell you, they each told me something, Marty, that means they've got it all on the line, and they're going to try to take each other out.
Thank you, Parker. Now we're getting ready for Cruz Pedregon. The Advanced Auto Parts machine's gone back to the other body. It has been an eventful day for the Cruiser. Let's go back and show you what's happened earlier in first round.
Boy, a number of explosions here today in eliminations. There it is, right at the other end. As soon as he's coming off the throttle, it's backfiring that supercharger, causing some body damage.
And as they back up, it'll be Dean Scooz over in the other lane. Let's quickly go to the far end. Bill.
Low ET, top speed of eliminations, John Force, third straight final.
Boy, it's good that Austin and Bernie and my guys are, as a team concept, we're all together. They've all been trying to help this car. You know, Jimmy Brock, Melvin, Dickey, and we're okay. I was sorry to hear. I didn't realize that Frankie was hurt in the ambulance, and they were late coming, but we were setting. We want to give the fans a race. I know it kind of screws up the TV sometimes, but we were going without him, and they said he wasn't here. Then they ran the tractor, so he got down there, and but they didn't get to warm up their car, so that kind of hurt him. So maybe a little luck on our part, but I don't like it that way. But I'll just let it go and say, Grandpa Tasca, you told me to get better. You get better. I'm getting better. How you doing, Dad?
All right, Jim. Let's quickly grab Frank Pedregon right over here. Frankie. We'll come back to Frank Pedregon.
Thanks a lot, Bill. This one's ready to go. Red line, Scusa. And Cruz shuts it off. So he's going to his first final since Englishtown of 2000. When guess what? He beat a guy by the name of John Force. Listen.
It's a red line. We won. No, I'm just thinking, did they shut it off? I think the belt came off.
Nope, the team said the belt came off. So let's go to Dave Reef.
The look on Rob Flynn's face says it all. The red body back on for this round. Why?
Yeah, we had our lucky break today. I mean, we've been blowing the blower off every run, changing bodies, one run to the other. We got your ESPN guys switching cameras all day long, so everyone's working real hard today, trying to get to the winner's circle.
3 Pedregons in funny car, one of them in the final, one of them not. Down with Bill.
Down here with Frank Pedregon, just discussing some of the boomers you've had in the past, Frank, but you've never been in the ambulance that long. What happened?
Oh, they kept me in the ambulance for about an hour. My vital signs weren't too much. I was breathing a lot of fumes, and my blood pressure was up there. And I mean, it's a shame. The K&N team here, we were trying to dedicate this race to Jeff, Diane Dunn's son, who he passed away a couple of weeks ago. And we really, our heart was into winning this for him. But hey, we'll get it again. And you know, thanks to K&N and Jim Dunn and Super Winch and everybody. They worked their butts off to even get it out here. Like I said, I spent a lot of time there. I'm part of the crew here, and I couldn't help them. But anyway, I'm okay, and we're okay. Hey, we went to the semis. We're all right.
Very courageous effort by this team today.
Certainly was. Take a look at this. Cruz going to his 43rd final. John to his 166th. Wow, that's a lot of final round appearances. Pro Stock, the factory hot rods when we come back. Back here at Vandermeer Speedway, time for Pro Stock, the semifinals. One of the Coughlins is going to the final round. It's a rematch of 1999 here at Denver. Of the final then, it was won by Jeg. He's in the right lane. Troy in the left lane. Oh, Jeg gets the advantage off the line. And it's Jeg going to the final. 724 at 190 to a 725, also at 190. Dave Reef.
Well, hey, I'm with Jake Sr., it's Parker, and Jeggy, for one son to win, one had to lose. It's got to be a bittersweet victory. Which side of the track do you decide to stand on?
Oh, geez, I just stand in the middle with Rick because that's where I need to be. I'm totally neutral. I'm in love with both of them.
Okay, Marty?
And Jeg going to the final here at a track that he has won at twice before. Here's a guy who's gone to 8 finals on the mountain, Warren Johnson. He'll be in the left lane. Right lane is Mike Edwards. This is a rematch of the semifinals from just 1 year ago. Edwards beat WJ on a hole shot. And remember, Mike has already tattooed 2 prior opponents today with hole shots.
Yeah, Mike Edwards is an excellent driver. But I tell you, Warren Johnson, he was concerned coming into that last session last night because the car wasn't leaving good. He didn't get good reaction times. And when he got shut off, he was kind of irritated because that was one of the things he wanted to try to see if he could get the car moved to help that situation. Well, let me tell you, today, he's been on his game. An 0.20 reaction time and an 0.13 in the first and second round. If he can do that again on this round and run the kind of number he's been running, Mike Edwards is going to have a really tough task for him to get around WJ.
And you've heard us mention reaction time. You see the clock or the tree up in the upper left of your screen. It says RT. That's what the RT stands for, and it shows you the reaction time of both competitors. Drives around him, 722, 190 miles an hour, and that's going to be good enough for lane choice over Jeg Jr. Dave Reef.
Down with Arlene Johnson. Guarantee your husband has forgotten about the 4th qualifying session now, right?
About what?
About that 4th qualifying session. I bet he forgot about that.
Yeah, he has. You know what? This lane has been a good lane to us all day, and the car's been running well. We went in cold turkey this morning not knowing what it was going to do.
God love the left lane.
WJ, look at the margin of victory. 3rd final of the year, his 141st of his career. Let's quickly go to Bill.
Well, I guess in drag racing, you're not your brother's keeper. Troy had a pretty good day today. Nice job, Troy. But, Jeggy, you waited until St. Louis last year to win your first race. We're here in Denver. Could it happen today?
It's going to have to be Denver. Looking back on it for sure. But, no, you know, we've had a strong car again today. I think the whole team's doing a great job. And Troy's team's just had a big shot in the arm, and that's extremely exciting for us. And to get by him is tall orders. So, you know, it's going to be a classic final, and we look to be on top.
Troy, not a bad day overall.
Now we've had a really good time. Team Jig's getting 2 cars in the semifinals and 1 in the final is pretty outstanding. And I'll tell you what, all the people back home at Jig's, this is a lot of hard work, and we appreciate it. Thank you.
Let's see this monster matchup now with the professor. Warren Johnson going to the final round. I'll tell you, after last night, Warren, I wouldn't have believed you could have gone the distance today.
Well, I'll guarantee you I'm happier than you are, Bill, as far as where we are right now compared to where we were last night in qualifying, you know, with the aborted run at the end there. But, you know, we came together, we discussed that little malfunction, and everybody just teamed up, and this team is working, you know. The Performance Parts Grand Am is hanging in there.
He's never completely happy with his car, but he's pretty happy with it so far today, Dave.
Ready for Pro Stock semifinals. Gino Scali, Blaine Hale just fired the car. You hear Rick Stewart say firing in the hole quickly. We saw flashing reds, look like a railroad crossing back there.
Yes, it did. They had a little problem with the computer and had to get it straightened up. They got it straightened up. The red lights come off, and it gave me the word, let's go.
No more delays. Let's get it on again.
And Rick Stewart has a birthday, not of his, but of his wife, Ruby. And we send our best wishes as well. Oh, look at that, a little kiss for Ruby. Hey, when we come back, Pro Stock Bike semifinals. Stay with us. Back here at the Mopar Mile High Nationals at Bandamere Speedway, just west of Denver, Colorado. Time for Blaine Hale and Gino Scali to match up here in Pro Stock Bike. Of course, Scali is the points leader. And red light for Gino, his 4th of the year. And again, both riders go red, but first is worst. And Gino was the first to break the beam. Blaine Hale is going to his first ever career final in Pro Stock Bike. Bill, look out. You've been hugged. You may get kissed here pretty soon because Blaine Hale is hooping and hollering as he heads to the far end of the racetrack. What a great day for Blaine Hale. Now, what about Harley-Davidson? They have been the class of the field here on the mountain. Andrew Hines carrying the Screaming Eagle colors on the V-Rod. He'll be over in the left lane up against Mike Berry. They have neither one ever been to a final. So we're going to have a first-time winner in Pro Stock Bike, no matter who wins this race.
Boy, we're seeing a lot of red lights in Pro Stock Bike, and I can't help but think because of that cloud cover, the cooler conditions, maybe those bikes are moving just a little bit quicker and they're getting the red light. Andrew Hines is going to have to be very, very careful. He's definitely got Mike Berry covered in lapse time department. He can spot him a couple of hundredths of a second and should still be able to get the win if everything goes right.
Here we go. Did exactly that. Gave him quite a bit. 5 100ths. And the win light goes to Berry. He gave him too much. 760 at 174 to a quicker but losing 755. And there is the margin of victory at the stripe. 14 10,000ths of a second.
Man, what a huge upset. I mean, and I gotta figure that those red lights were definitely affected Andrew Hines. He wanted to make sure he didn't red light. Unfortunately for him, he gave up a little bit too much, like you said, Marty. 500ths of a second to Mike Berry off the starting line. That was just about the difference. Only 14,000ths of a second he lost by at the stripe to Mike Berry. And what a great job, though, for this Harley team this weekend. They have nothing to be ashamed about.
So, take a look at the matchup. Two guys that have never been to a final. And the lane choice will go to Mike Berry. Bill?
In the words of the late, great Jack Buck, I don't believe what I just saw. Blaine Hale, who for years struggled on Kawasaki's, trying to run with the Suzukis. You run one of these beasts now and go into your first career final.
It's absolutely awesome. I'm taking the Cornwell Tools banner to the final. Very first time. Mom, you're right. Luck's better than being good. And one more.
And how about this Mike Berry over here? You know, last couple of years, Mike, we've seen the improvement in your program, how much closer you've gotten to winning a race. Maybe it's today.
Yeah, I hope so, man. We've really been working hard. I tell you, my girlfriend and I burn the midnight oil every night. And, thanks. It's always nice to beat somebody on a hole shot, too, you know, especially the factory-sponsored teams, you know, when I'm an independent. And, man, I'm out of breath.
It doesn't matter who's going to win this bike final. They'll have to be put in protective custody for their own protection.
Oh, it's so great, the enthusiasm. As the work continues in Cruz Pedregon's camp, stay with us. The final's still to come. Let's check in with Parker Johnstone. He's in Cruz Pedregon's pit.
And Marty, these are just some of the parts that Cruz Pedregon has gone through today on the way to the finals. His first final since Englishtown back in 2000. Cruz, it's been a year and a half since you formed this team. Did you think success would take so long to achieve?
No, I wanted to win my first race out, but it took a lot of time, a lot of work since 2000, and it took Advanced Auto Parts saying yes to me and believing in me, and this is how I'm going to pay him back, you know, final round. But really, we've built a methodical team here. We didn't start off with the best guys in the world. I do have some really good guys now, and it's taken some time for us to gel, like they say. And I think we have it together now. We've had 2 good outings in a row. We've gone to the semis a few times. The car's repeated. Other than a little bit of backfire at the finish line, this car's it's running good. So, you know, we had a little hiccup there against Scusa there. I felt the tires shake, and I pedaled it. And once I saw he had a red light, I just decided to save the equipment, give the guys something to look at for the final.
Marty?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. When we go to the Funny Car Final, the last 13 Powerade championships will be on both sides of the starting line. Stay with us. We got more. We're coming right back. Here at the Mopar Mile High Nationals at Vandermeer Speedway. It's time to get ready for the finals. Let's check in with Dave Reef.
Down in the John Force camper, this team is preparing for their 3rd straight final. Still searching for their first win of 2003, but I'm with the 12-time champ right now to talk a little bit about pre-final superstitions. You have any?
No, I tried all that stuff years ago. I just, I don't have any superstitions. I just...
Oh, excuse me, hold on.
Here's your Powerade. You have a donut. Yeah, you should.
Wait a minute. I think we found a superstition, John.
I like Powerade and I like Krispy Kremes.
You in a contract with Krispy Kreme too?
No. My age. I can't believe
Can't believe Sean Murphy did that.
Not to be confused with our great producer, Sean Murphy.
Station, it's just a little sugar to get you up, that's all.
You have any other things that you've done in the past? I've heard rumors of a hot dog in years past.
Have hot dogs just so you don't eat during the day, and you know, it's just a balance of your sugar level. And you get too much sugar in you, you get wired up, you'll red light. You don't get enough sugar, you'll be sleeping. I might wish I had a pair of the underwear Cruz beat me with in '92. He always said those underwear worked for him, but
not touching that one.
No, we're just going to go out there and I'm just glad to be back in the hunt, and did some damage to help my teammates Petragon and Dencham this week, and see if we can beat old Cruiser in the final. He's a good racer.
And when John Force wins, he's pretty amped up, so he must have enough sugar in his diet. The finals in all the professional classes coming up when we return to Bandamere Speedway in the Mopar Mile High National.
Time for the finals in Pro Stock. Will it be Jed Coughlin, Warren Johnson, or in Pro Stock Bike, Blaine Hale, Mike Berry? Finals coming to the line, and there is Mike Berry. His road to the finals, Sean Connor, Fred Collis both went red, and then he beat Andrew Hines on a hole shot as the number 6 qualifier. And for Blaine Hale, well, his trek, similar. He's had a lot of good breaks go his way today. Out of the number 16 qualifying spot, he had GT Tonglet and Gino Scali go red, and then Karen Stouffer ended up breaking on the line. And the last time a number 16 qualifier won in Pro Stock Bike, his name was Rick Stetson, 1987 in Baton Rouge.
So basically, Marty, 5 out of the 6 runs that these two competitors raced in was determined by the Christmas tree, either by red light or hole shot. The only one was Karen Stouffer, who had to be shut off.
006 for Blaine Hale. And your number 16 qualifier has done it. They can't believe it. 7:62 with a hole shot. Mike Berry was asleep. He ran a 1:41 light. Parker?
I'm with Blaine's dad. Clayton, what a magical day. You've gone your first semi, your first final, and now your first NHRA victory. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. I tell you what, we've had so much help out here. My wife's got to come to her first race this year. We've had a bunch of kinfolk out here. Cornwell's been with us all weekend. Wells Cargo Trader's been with us all weekend. God's been with us all weekend. And nobody can tell me God don't answer prayers. We just got one right there. I didn't ever figure I'd see this.
Congratulations. Let's go up to Bill.
The pride and joy of Midland, Texas not only wins this race, but does it from the bump, does it on a Suzuki. Wasn't within a 1/10 of a second of Mike Berry all day, but it didn't matter on a wicked hole shot. You're in the winner, sir.
Thanks, I appreciate it. All the guys at Cornwell Tools made this happen for me. My mom and dad, good crew chief.
I'm bailing.
Yeah, end of interview. What a great run. Remember, just a couple weeks ago, Del Worsham did it from the number 16 spot in Funny Car. The second time in history it's been done in Pro Stock Bike. Dave Reef.
Mike Berry still smiling, though, despite a 141 light that ultimately was the difference.
Yeah, I kind of feel like shooting myself after that. I guess the pressure kind of got to me. I was a little bit of a Cinderella story today, but we'll get him next time. I tell you, my hat's off to Blaine. He made a really good run, and, you know, we'll get him next time, I hope.
Still proud of Littleton, Colorado for this man.
Well, and as you take a look at the points, Mike Berry still moves up 2 positions, up to 7th. Gino Scali has a 109-point lead over Angel Savoy, and Blaine Hale not even in the top 12 in the points. What a day for the number 16 qualifier. Quickly, another email as we get ready for the Pro Stock final. Aaron from Akron says, do drivers get more nervous before the finals than they do before other 3 rounds? I think we just got our answer from Mike Berry.
Well, I tell you, the final round is definitely nervous, but I think most drivers will tell you the first round is probably the most nervous because you've had all night to sit around and think about it. On Sunday during eliminations, you're going rounds and you don't have quite as much time, but it's still definitely nerve-wracking.
Now time for Warren Johnson and Jed Coughlin. 8 Pro Stock championships between them. 6 owned by that man right there, WJ. You see their road to the finals. Jeg is 0-2 against the Johnson in finals this year. Both of those losses came against Kurt. There's no love lost between these two families. So this one is big. Number 3 in the points, WJ. Number 4 in the points, Jeg Coughlin. Here we go. Pro Stock final. Jeg's first off the line. 7:22 to a 7:25. Parker?
Arlene Johnson, after the bump in the road yesterday with that fourth session of qualifying, the winningest driver in Pro Stock, husband. Your husband has notched up another one. Congratulations.
He's still bad, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
We're coming from the bottom half of the field. It's GM Performance Parts Pontiac. Great. Can't ask for a better day. Only we needed Kurt here, too.
Well, prior to today, he had never won a round out of the number 9 qualifying spot. That's where WJ started. Now he picks up victory number 91.
And look at the incrementals. Jed Coughlin got the advantage by 100th of a second, but WJ had already made that up at 60 foot and never looked back. There's a margin of victory, 15 thousandths of a second.
Let's go on board with Jeg.
Watch Jeg. He had to move that steering wheel a little bit off the starting line. That usually indicates how the setup was maybe a little bit off, had a little bit too much tire spin, possibly could have cost him. Still a good run by both teams.
4th win on the mountain. There he is, the professor.
I don't think any of us can really believe it, Warren. You came in today and we were all kind of clucking our tongues and saying, poor professor, but boy, you've really turned it around.
Well, we just got behind the 8 ball a little bit, quite similar to at Joliet when we DNQ'd there. We just didn't make the correct decisions, but we just went over and looked at Kurt's notes. He was quicker in the front half of the track when we were testing here. I was quicker in the back half. We kind of just melted the two together, got all the guys together, both crews, and we discussed what we were going to do, and voila, it worked.
Did it with his driving, did it with his horsepower. 3 finals, 3 wins this year.
There are the points. WJ 250 back, Kurt 71 behind Greg Anderson, and Jed Coughlin still in 4th place. Time now to light up the wick for Nitro. It is Larry Dixon, number 1 in the points, against number 2, Doug Kalitta. Kalitta needs to win. We'll explain why. In Funny Car, Cruz Pedregon and John Force. Between them, they've won the last 13 Powerade championships. And here comes John Force and Cruz Pedregon. Cruz's last win, Englishtown 2000 against John Force. As you see how John made it to the finals, who he defeated along the way. Their first final ever was back in Sonoma of 1992. John won that one. They have met 20 times in finals. Force has won 12 of them. Let's quickly go to the far end.
Maybe Seattle, Jackie.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. You know, we made a great run this weekend, and obviously after the first 4 qualifying runs, I think Warren went over and took some notes from his kid for the first time.
As I said, no real love lost between these families.
Hey, if it's there, why not?
Cruz Pedregon, as we are on board, looking for his 23rd career win. John Force, will our 13th round in NHRA Powerade competition be lucky number 13? He's winless in the first 12. And lucky 13 turns the trick for John Force. Win number 107. And he is finally in victories in the winner's circle in NHRA Powerade competition in 2003. Parker.
Austin Coyle, I know you have suffered more than anyone else on this team during this long drought. It's now all come right. Congratulations.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's been a long time since we've got a win light with John's car. Just like it's been a long time since my wife's been able to come to the races since she broke her leg. Things are turning around. The wife will be on the road soon. Life is good.
Life is good.
Let's go back and take another look. John was 1/100th quicker off the line.
This was just a great side-by-side drag race. Both teams did a fantastic job here. John Force got the finish line a little bit ahead of Cruz Pedregon. A little bit of damage there at the other end, but John, he doesn't care. There's plenty of parts back in the trailer. Watch Cruz here, right down the middle of the racetrack. You see John just pull away slightly at the other end. Boy, that's a sinking feeling in the final round, but still did a great job.
Let's go to Bill.
For the first time in 8 months, America gets to hear a John Force winning soundbite.
Hey, it's kind of nice. You go up against Cruiser, his group over there at Advanced Auto Parts. They're good guys. They race hard. And we thought they'd pull one out of the hat. I don't know what happened, but she trucked down through there. I'll give credit to Coyle, Bernie, and all our team and all the sponsors. And, yeah, it feels good to win. I'm back in the ball game. I still ain't in the points chase yet, but I did some damage today to help my guys, and I'm just excited for NHRA Powerade, Cats Report, Mac Tool, AAA. Hot day. Slavinsky, we're back in the hunt.
Hey,
I ain't dead yet.
Take care of that Krispy Kreme, big guy. Let's go to Dave.
Don't think
After
it
Bruce
didn't help.
Pedregon visibly upset, no doubt.
Well, we didn't win. I wanted to beat Forrest, and but we put up a good effort. I just want to. I'm disappointed. I come here to win, and but I'm not even going to take my hat off to Forrest. He's. I respect John a lot, but you know, I want to win, and I'm competitive, and you know, I'll try to smile for the sponsors. They brought me back, and thanks for believing me, guys. But this is we're going to do a lot more of this, and sorry it's taking me so long, but winners never forget how to win.
It's war out here.
Did you take a look at those points? John has moved up 2 spots to 4th, and he's only 15 points behind Del Worsham in 3rd. Time now for the final race of the day. Larry Dixon, the points leader. Here's how he got to the main event. Doug Kalita, number 2 in the points, and if you're doing the math with the way it shakes out, basically, Doug Kalita has to average 1 more round at each of our final races throughout the course of the season to capture the points lead. This is the first step in that process. Look at the quick times today. 2 guys stand out. Isn't that incredible?
Well, and that's why they're in the final. And I'll tell you, until Doug ran that 476 in the semis, I mean, Larry Dixon had everybody covered. Now, we got to remember, Connie Coletta, Doug Coletta, they make more horsepower than anybody in top fuel. I think even Dick LaHaye would tell you that. But the thing is, you got to be able to get to the ground. I'm sure they're going to try to step it up, but it's going to have to be able to stick if they want to get around that Miller car.
Not going to happen. Dick LaHaye does it again. He gets the car down the track 4 straight runs in the 70s. 473 this time, 313 miles an hour. It is the 6th win this year for Larry Dixon and the 31st of his career. Parker.
Dick LaHaye and Don the Snake Prudhomme congratulating each other. Dick, a picture-perfect weekend. The pole, another win. Congratulations.
Well, I mean, we couldn't ask for it to be any better. And, you know, that Coletta team is a pretty tough team over there. And we didn't want to take them too lightly, but I didn't want to beat ourselves. And I just thank God that it was the weekend that it was. We couldn't ask for it to be any nicer.
Perfect.
Larry getting the helmet off. Let's take a couple of replays here and you'll see what happens.
Well, I'll tell you, Doug Coletta and Connie Coletta, they went for it. They were 500s quicker to the 330-foot mark than Larry Dixon. About that time, though, they started spinning the tires, and that allowed Larry Dixon to go by with that basic Dick LaHaye combination. Get her down the racetrack, 473, and get the win. But you're going to see right to the second cone out there, right about that point where he starts smoking the tires. 500ths of a second ahead of Larry Dixon, but the track just wouldn't hold, and that was the end of his day.
4 runs within 500ths of a second of each other, Bill.
About as surgical a victory as we have ever seen. You win, Larry Dixon, and don't tell me all the cars are the same out there. That's the guy you had to beat. You did it.
Oh, no question. This is a tough car. I saw him at half track. I mean, when do you get to see passes in a quarter mile? You know, you're only on the track 4.5 seconds. But, you know, Miller Lite, Mac Tools, Lucas Oil, UST, those guys, man, Dick LaHaye, he's the master. And I'm just, I'm lucky to be the jockey on his horse. You know, it's just phenomenal. Last year at this time, I think the last 2 races, we made like a 120-point gain on where we were last year. So things are good. Got to win here. And, you know, thanks Powerade, too. Thank you.
As he mentions the points, he's now 229 ahead of Doug Coletta. It is a 2-driver race, and boy, Coletta has got to, well, just hope that he can turn it around and get this guy out earlier. Let's go over to Dave.
Hard to tell the chain of events which led to the belt being absolutely stripped there. No teeth on that, but it certainly played a part, Doug.
Yeah, looks like got the best out of that belt, but normally we're, you know, the car was running strong today. You know, we made it to the final. Everybody worked their tails off on this thing. You know, whole Mac Tools group here. So yeah, we'll go to the next one, see what we can do. You know, it's always good to make it to the final.
You wanted it. You went after it.
The fireworks continue in the background as the fans start to head towards the parking lot. Stay with us. We'll wrap things up here from Vandermeer Speedway when we come back to the Mopar Mile High Nationals. And Ben, as you take a look at our schedule next week from Seattle, jot down the times. I want to get your thoughts on a great day of racing.
I'll tell you what, Blaine Hale, first win in Pro Stock Bike on a hole shot. Great job. Warren Johnson struggles in qualifying, comes out, first round, gets a handle on it, wins a race, taking out Jeggy and Greg Anderson on the way. John Force, what can you say? His first win of the season, sneaks up to fourth in the points, and then Larry Dixon just slow and steady and goes out there, not slow and steady, but real steady, and gets the win.
Yeah, there's no thing slow about Top Fuel. Hey, for Mike Dunn, Phil Stevens, Dave Reed, Parker Johnstone, I'm Marty Reed, and our entire ESPN crew. We want to thank you so much for joining us on the NHRA Information Dragway presented by Lucas Oil. Hope you enjoyed as much as we did. Great outdoor games are coming up next. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com. We'll see you next week from Seattle. So long, everybody.